The Southern Ocean is a lonely place with those raging storms that we all must face. Down upon the Southern Ocean, sailing down below Cape Horn. On the restless water through the troubling skies, you can see that Molly-Mo wheel and fly. Down upon the Southern Ocean, sailing down below Cape Horn. Won't you ride the wind and go, white seabird? Ride the wind and go, Molly-Mo. Down upon the Southern Ocean, sailing down below Cape Horn. See the Molly-Mo floating on his white, white wings, and hear what a lonely song he sings. Down upon the Southern Ocean, sailing down below Cape Horn. And he's got no compass and he's got no gear, there's none can tell you how the Molly-Mo steers. Down upon the Southern Ocean, sailing down below Cape Horn. Won't you ride the wind and go, white seabird? Ride the wind and go, Molly-Mo. Down upon the Southern Ocean, sailing down below Cape Horn. He's the ghost of a sailor man I've heard say, whose body sank down and his soul flew away. Down upon the Southern Ocean, sailing down below Cape Horn. And he's got no haven and he's got no home, he's bound evermore for to wheel and roam. Down upon the Southern Ocean, sailing down below Cape Horn. Won't you ride the wind and go, white seabird? Ride the wind and go, Molly-Mo. Down upon the Southern Ocean, sailing down below Cape Horn. When I gets too weary for to sail no more, let my bones sink down far away from shore. Down upon the Southern Ocean, sailing down below Cape Horn. Won't you ride the wind and go, white seabird? Ride the wind and go, Molly-Mo. Down upon the Southern Ocean, sailing down below Cape Horn.
Hello everyone, welcome back. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, oh my gosh. I could tell you a lot of things. Or I could tell you none of things. How's everyone doing? Okay, well, I immediately ruined my, I was so very patiently sitting in the proper position with my feet on the floor so as to not, bump against the fucking whatever with my legs because they're allergic to being down. But I just pulled them back up, like a goofus. So, I guess we'll try again when I actually start the chapter. I'm allergic to sitting normal. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's interesting sort of... It's interesting sort of, noticing how going through and doing the edited version has impacted how I want to, I need to pay more attention to, not bumping into shit. And hopefully make there be less sniffles in the recording. Because I cropped those out too. But like even last time, like when I did stutter, I would take it earlier back. I would take it like from the top of the phrase more often, because to give myself material with which to edit things back together in a way that would sound smooth. So like it is already impacting my brain, which is totally great, because I totally needed more things for my brain CPU to be doing. Like, so yeah, like as it stands, my dialogue delivery could use some attention. But it's okay. We're good, we're great. We're good, we're great. Crunchy motherfucker. Anyway. Boy howdy, we've got a doozy of a chapter up. In our what was the rest of the sentence? What's a normal phrase to finish that with? I fucking forgot. Oh no. I've forgotten how to words. As evidenced by the fact that I also haven't written much in like weeks. And by written much, I mean at all. Oopies. But sometimes I know words, sometimes I don't. Most of the time, I'm just a little bit of a goofy silly. A silly goofy, even, as Wander would say. But yeah, we got some fun times up ahead. Ahead of us. Did my brain shit itself over forgetting how to say ahead of us? Is that the phrase that I forgot? Did I forget the phrase ahead of us? Hold on. Let's back the fuck up. How many brain cells have I got left? Because okay. We're not gonna worry about that. I often think live to tell the day. I often think that I'm getting stupider as time goes on. But we just won't worry about it. It's fine. It's probably fine. Wander lived to tell the day. So, truly with that in mind, don't lose hope. Or something. I don't know. Oh, man. Get told, day. Well, as has been noted, our last chapter sure left off in just the greatest of positions. You know, everyone is just so. I forgot. I can. I could play the thing. The thing I made. I played it at the end of last stream, didn't I? I did play it at the last stream. But that's actually also structurally acceptable because previously on the Adventure Zone, right? Like, this is what happens. We're used to this. This happens. We do this. I won't, but oh my gosh, I so nearly uploaded it isolated as a video. But I opted against that and just made it a Tumblr audio post instead. Oh man. I'm so funny. Anyway. So yeah. Last we left off, G-Dave has already been pretty fucking sus of Dave. And then there were a bunch of ghosts doing a strange. That's what it's called. They did a strange. They did the song, the thing. And then we found out that the former captain of the ship was found dead by spacing in the middle of the ship. You tell me how that works, 'cause I don't know. I'm just kidding. But we're all gonna find out. Anyway, some things that I should learn is how to sit still and not bump my elbow against everything around me forever. And then maybe I might have a chance. A chance at what? I don't know. Yeah, man. I have mostly been cold. Cold is one thing that I've been. It started warming up where I live. Where I live is known for being extremely fucking hot. And it started warming up, and I got really mad about it. And then we had like a week straight where it was super, super cold. I'm wearing 2 shirts right now. I'm wearing a long sleeve under a short sleeve. Like some kind of goober. But yeah, I have been mostly not writing anything of my own, but I have been reading this chapter a couple of times and reading AU and drawing just little goober doodles. That's what they're called now, apparently. Just little doodles. I should get back to working on some bigger pieces that I have abandoned yet again, but I haven't. And then I've also a little bit been working on a thing that I don't think I've disclosed what it is to the public. And I think I prefer it that way, just because I think it's funny to have secrets. You may have seen it if you're in Unda's Discord server. Because I did share it there, but I haven't like published it yet. Yes, you know my secrets, dingus. Um, but yeah, I was working on Secret Project, like the other night, but I didn't get to the end. No, I didn't put 3 in there because I didn't get to the end. And then I didn't want to do it last night because I wanted to save my voice for this. And then I'm probably not going to do it tonight because I will need to recover my voice from this. Even though I am this close to, like, after the chapter, like, we should just hop on and play Phasmophobia or something for a little bit. I don't know. We'll see how I feel. Because I may desire, snacks and dinner and a nap and a drink and a nap. Or I may not. We'll see. But even if that is the case, I may just come back later. Like, okay, I'm gonna level with y'all. You may have noticed that yesterday was Friday and I didn't stream. But I also didn't say anything about it, but nor did anyone else. So I kind of think that nobody cares. I don't mean it like that, but I'm kind of thinking, like, what if I just do it when I'm in the fuck instead? Because sometimes, like, I'll come home from a Friday, because I still work on Fridays. That's a weekday. And sometimes, like, usually when I come home, I just want to, like, fucking sleep and nap and sleep. So, I don't know. But anyway, I don't know how I feel about that right now. But as far as today is concerned, I may or may not stream Phasmophobia with Wander after the chapter. That depends on how I feel. That depends, I guess, also on how they feel. I probably won't stream it if it's just solo because I scowled. But I might still play solos if I want to and, like, do it in Cherry or something. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Write your fucking essay! You fool! That's due today! You silly goofy! Okay. As long as you're working on it right now, that's fine. Anyway, so yeah, that's an idea that I had, because before stream, like, in that 1 hour between when I post the 1 hour notif versus when I go live, I didn't really have much else to do, so I popped into Phasmophobia and I I played the training because I hadn't, not because I needed to, but you get a achievement. Just take care of that real quick. And then I played technically I played 2 rounds. I tried to play 1, no sanity, no evidence, and it went very bad. I died really fast. And so I was like, you know what? Let's just go normal as professional. So I did that. And that went a lot better. I lived, and the ghost was of the twins. And so that was nice. I played the video game. The ghost was of the twins, yeah. Anyway. It's now 3:33, which is funny. Because that's all the same number. I think. Oh, now it's 3:34. That's less funny. Well, in any case, I do think what time it really is time to do the intro, which I should rewrite and make shorter, but I haven't. I haven't done that, so I'll just stick with the same old script. Ain't nobody surprised by nothing I say in here anymore, but who cares? The only important part is right when I said that, my phone popped up with a notification. I gotta show you guys this picture. Oh, holy fuck. Here, hold on. I gotta show you guys. You should make that a sticker in the server, by the way. For some reason it's not doing the oh. Oh, they moved the thing. Unicorns. This pic goes hard. Feel free to screenshot. Yeah, we were, Wander is ridiculously fast at typing. So they played a few typing games in call last night. And that was very, very silly, goofy, funny. That picture just makes me laugh. Oh, anyway. Yeah, you are. And look at what that means for you now. Anyway. What I was going to say was all that matters is welcome to the 64th. I fucking bumped the desk again. Damn it. The 64th installment of Your Words Destroyed My Planet, the stream series. If you're new here, you're not. But if you were, I would say welcome. My name is Harper, but you can call me KK. My pronouns are they, it. If you are new in Twitch chat, please read the rules, be chill, and have a good time. Your Words Destroyed My Planet by Unda is a 1.1 million word homestuck fic that focuses on Dave Soulcat. It's an AU set in a future where Earth and Alternia have been consumed by a mysterious force known as the Void, and humans and trolls have escaped on spaceships for their survival. Lots and lots of supernatural bullshit ensues. Lots and lots and lots and lots! As of now, the fic is currently unfinished, as noted by the fact that my streams of it are now individually announced as the chapters come out. So, if you didn't know that before, now you know. In this stream series, I do aim to read the entire fic out loud by myself and stay caught up in doing so. Mundane bullshit too, that's true. Just all the bullshit. But that's why we love it. Please take note of the tags on this fic. We are looking at them right now. Oh, man. Some shit does happen. Hi, you're back from salad. Yes. I forgot if I finished the sentence, but I'm just going to pretend like I did. If you would like to read back approximately what I just said, with 1,000,000% less tangents, you can type ¡fake about in chat. I totally know what sounds letters make. Don't worry, guys. I got this. If you would like a link to the fic itself on AO3, you can use !fake link. That'll take you to chapter 1, because I didn't want to update the link every single stream. Exclamation point fix song is a brief explanation of a very special feature of these streams, which is the pre-recorded song sequences. This command sadly cannot tell you which song is currently happening, but don't worry. All the titles had to go through my brain and also my hands so I could type them into YouTube to download them into to make the sequences, and then to save the sequences, file type, file title, name, that thing. Yes. You know what I mean. Exclamation point fix sorry is just a couple of disclaimers / apologies because, man, making shit is hard. And I'm doing it all by myself because I didn't want anybody's help. Yeah, but yes, this is a solo project. This is a live project, which means that we are unfortunately susceptible to whatever happens in real time. If I happen to be really sniffly, if I happen to be failing at saying words, I don't get no retakes. If I happen to be having internet trouble, then suddenly everyone is having stream trouble. But yeah, I try to make the best of it. It is a learning experience, and that is part of why. That is most of why. That is most of why I have the edited version now, that I am working my way through. But I'll elaborate on that in a second, because the next chat command is exclamation point VODs. That will give you a link to my YouTube archive where I'll be putting every full stream VOD for this series as well as my other streams. That is also where the edited version lives. Your Words Destroyed My Planet, the stream series. The edited version is basically the purest form of the chapter made out of the VODs. So I cut out the intros, I cut out the breaks, I cut out the disconnects. I have gotten really picky about editing out my stutters and sniffles, and also every single side. If I ever say something that's not on the screen, like if I make a little comment like he's just like me for real, I cut that out too. It's all about making it just be the chapter. That is the aim. And as an added bonus, or I guess equal, it's not like adding anything on, but I did isolate the setlist chapters. They get their own videos now. But yeah, so basically, watch that one instead. Watch the edit. Don't watch the VODs. Watch the edited version. I'm still working on it. I left off on chapter 41 and setlist 2, I believe, is the last thing that I uploaded. Right? Yeah. So, yeah. The characters do be just like us for real. And that does deserve acknowledgement. Because I just need to know. I take great comfort in the fact that they are just like me for real. And I take great joy in that. But yeah, I literally the way the edited version gets done. Do you guys want to know? Do you guys want to know how the edited version gets done and why the rate at which I do not control the rate at which edited version come out. Well, I mean, I literally do, but what it is I basically, by necessity, I have to listen to my own VOD in full. So what I do is I make use of the timestamps that I put in the description to skip the intros and breaks. I set it to play back at 1.25 speed to get through that shit, because them chapters be long. And I listen to them during work because I have ADHD. I thrive on having multiple things going on. And I literally, every time I catch something that I need to edit out, I make note of the timestamp of that in a little notebook in pen. And then I make note of every single thing that I want to edit out. And then I make note of when the break starts and stops and when the chapter ends and all that shit. And then I take that home and I use the list of timestamps and I just pull in the VOD into freaking DaVinci Resolve. And I make all the cuts. I make all the little slices, but I don't remove anything, because if you do that, then the timestamps change. So I make all the slices first, and then I go through the whole thing and remove all the little bits. And then I have to play them back and see how smooth they sound. And, hopefully they sound smooth, but a lot of them don't. And I just have to make my peace with that because I can't really do it any better. Sometimes I'm not very articulated in my enunciation. And so it makes it hard to do the thing. Unicorns! Anyway. But yeah, that is literally how the edited version gets made, is I listen to it sped up during work. And, sometimes I feel like listening to something else. I do try to stay on top of it. I give myself a pass. Like, I try to get one out even on Mondays because, okay, so on Mondays, I like to watch Phasmophobia streams. And those go for, like, most of my workday. I generally try to get at least one chapter through anyway. Start it before the stream, and then whenever he goes live, pause it and watch the stream, and then when he's done, I get back to it, because he finishes before my workday does. But sometimes that doesn't work out so well, or whatever. And so I've given myself a pass to not have to do one on Mondays, but I try to get at least one out every other day of the week. Not every other day, like do alternating, but like all the other days of the week, all the other weekdays. And these rules are entirely self-imposed, and I know myself. I'm full of shit. So whatever I say isn't law. So I'm not the best at adhering to my own word, but I try to, and that's about all I can promise. Anyway, all of that to long-windedly say, I just like talking about the thought processes that I have. All of that to very long-windedly say, edited version. It comes out when it comes out. I am trying to maintain forward momentum because we are now nearly 2/3 of the way through. And yeah, I mean, you know, I would like for the convenience and like, I thought it was, the improvements were enough that the edited version was worth making, and subjecting myself to all this, like, super, 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 super worth making. Not least because I am ashamed of how loud I scream when I drop connection. And also, listen, how I feel about my own comments and jokes is simultaneously they're the funniest and least funny thing I've ever heard. So they just need to not be there on it in case they're actually the least funny. But anyway, it's 3:50 now. I went on a fucking ramble. I'm so sorry. Oh no, I'm gonna have to denote that in the in the description. Oopies. I like talking about the things that I do. No one listens to me. You're forced to listen to me. Holy shit. Anyway, so yeah, all that to say, ! VODs will get you to my YouTube channel, and that is where all the stuff, in fact. And so, now, I'm going to try to maintain an appropriate sitting position that won't make my legs bump into things, so that I can finally say to you, you, right there, welcome to Your Words Destroyed My Planet, Chapter 64. Your chuckle voodoos are psionics. For some reason, they don't usually get tossed into that label with the other kinds, but they still are. They're not that useful for passive stuff. You can feel when someone is close to losing their shit and feel it with some detail, but other than that, it's more of a sense of bad vibes. Obviously, you can cause that, but that's something you have to actively do, even if it's by accident sometimes. Right now, this gym is a big, swirling soup of bad energy and sour feelings all around. Old Dave is a big, humming beacon of nasty vibes, fear, and rage all mixed up into one, and he's right on the edge of snapping. Your Dave is tense and clearly pissed, but he's got a better handle on his situation in comparison to the older one. It's easy enough to tell them apart psionically, but chuckle voodoos don't help much with understanding Spanish. Luckily, you'd left your Strider-built Strider translator open after the oldest one found you spacing out over the sink. Oh, cool. I thought to identify which Dave was which. You did this. Did what? Don't play dumb with me. Not playing. The captain is dead, and you killed her. Your eyebrows shoot up your head in surprise when you see that entirely nuts accusation thrown around. You look up from your palm husk to Dave and see that he's just as surprised, but definitely pissed about this. What's going on? What did I miss? Aradia asks as you hastily swipe out of the translation app and go into Trollian. Check that Strider translator thing. We got murder accusations flying around. You tell her quietly, making Aradia scramble for her palm husk. Carcat, I think you need to get down here to the gym, like, motherfucking now. If this is some dig about my athleticism, then I'm not in the mood. No, it's more like I think the Daves are about to make this a one Dave situation, since this is getting nasty and there's legitimate murder accusations going around. I'm gonna try to deal with it, but you should probably get here. Holy shit, no. I don't like your way of dealing with things. We're on our way. Just don't let things escalate. Oh, of course. We're on the way. You try not to be bitter about your ex's thing with Solix. The breakup was mutual, and you're with Tavros anyway. It's actually easier dealing with Solix himself now that you're both balancers, because the guy doesn't pretend to like you more than he does in an effort to be polite. More importantly, he respects your thoughts and ideas when it comes to balancing, and treats you as if you have more seniority and experience, which you do. He's a lot more tolerable now than he used to be, now that you're not involved with Karkat. None of which gives you any idea why Karkat thinks it's a good idea to bring Solix, a wobbly Jenga tower of emotional and mental instability, to this kind of fight. Dave only just came back before Solix lost it to the degree that required a soft room, psionic suppressants, and a lot of psych meds. That's all well and good, but that doesn't magically go away, and you've been feeling it like background noise. But, okay, let's throw him in this situation too! Dave switches back to Alternian out of nowhere, dragging your attention to him. Off-brand Benoit Blanc here is accusing me of murdering the captain, despite all of you being here in the room with me and there being hundreds of thousands of miles of open space between our ships. Dave snaps. The older one is having to read his translator now to get what Dave is saying, and he doesn't look pleased as he reads it. You seem pretty angry about her not being executed, and now she's dead and you're not upset at all. Actually, and now it's Jake speaking up, I think that Dave and his siblings can empathize more than most people about having conflicting opinions about deaths in the family. Sometimes people that you're related to should have been better and weren't, or they lie to you and leave you unsure about who they really are deep down. Who they were. Jake's voice catches a little at the end there. You reach out and bump your fist on his shoulder ever so slightly. You've got his back on this, like he had yours. I don't know what to say about her, but I'm sorry it hurts, Jake, Dave says honestly. It sucks. You wish that they were two different people, you really do. The captain who could be funny and let you have a lot of leeway. The captain who was Disciple's wife after living one hell of a rough life. The captain who was the only family to Jake and Jade. It'd be better if that person wasn't the same as the other one. The captain that took in Lalonde's test subject and even her kids for reasons you'll never fully know. The one who made all of you sign your lives away to her. The one who threatened to kill your loved ones to make you do what she wanted. It'd be easier, but as with all things, those two things are the same. Mirthful messiahs, it's always just the one face in reality. There were nights after she was arrested that you'd thought about going down to her cell. You thought about getting in her face and asking her if she was going to follow through with that threat against the people she took prisoner. You wanted to ask if she left you in GHB's care because she was trying to replicate the nightmares that Dr. Lalonde put people through to make balancers, or if she just didn't care about leaving children in that monster's hands. You wanted to know if she took Silem in for the doc and reported back to her, if she did that with Dave. Did she care that she'd fucked up all of your lives for good? You thought about going down there and asking her those things and then choking the life out of her for it. It wouldn't have done you any good, and she was still family to Jake and Jade. It would have only made things more complicated for your fellow balancers, and the ship as a whole. You'd have to look Jake and Jade in the eye. You'd have to face Disciple and admit what you'd done. It's just not so simple. Everything is messy. Gamzee, Aradia, I'm telling you that he did this. He's wrong, and I don't know why you can't see it, but I'm trying to work with you here. You had a problem with me holding things back, right? Well, now I'm not. I'm telling you that I've been doing this longer, and I know what I'm talking about. Oh, are you gonna say that you know what I am? Earth Dave stares at yours with alarm on his face. Your Dave is quietly buzzing with irritation, but it's nothing concerning. His expression is almost placid as he stares his great-grandfather down. I know. Say it. You're not human. Wow, you accuse me of murder and can't even get your Twilight memes right. I'm disappointed. Your ears prick at the sound of hurried, flat-footed steps rushing closer and closer. You know that training Karkat was Dave's responsibility, but if he's stepping down, then you're gonna get your hands on Karkat and train him to run properly. Or maybe he only runs like a drunk hoofbeast when he's this worried? We're here! What the fuck is going wrong now? Karkat yells as he bursts into the room. No one's dead, at least, Solix says, insensitively as fuck. You're about to rip him a new one for that, especially as you can hear Jake draw in a sharp breath. But then you realize that you only know because you were right here with Jake when he found out. They probably don't know. I'm going to go now, before this becomes more about my grandmother. Jake murmurs the last word and hurriedly excuses himself from the room, ignoring the concerned and puzzled looks from Karkat and Solix. Ouch, Dave says under his breath. What was that about? Why are you talking about murder accusations, Gamzee? Karkat demands as the door shuts behind him. Your captain is dead, killed like someone shoved her out into space, except she was alone in a locked room. In a locked room on another ship. Somehow I did this, apparently, even though I was here having a nap in a room full of witnesses. The captain's dead? No one told us! Since when? Karkat demands. Jake just found out. I think Nepeta messaged him directly, and then they had a call. I'm guessing that it's not public knowledge yet. We just found out because we were with him when he was informed. Aradia explains. Oh my god, that's horrifying. Shit, poor Jake. I just burst in here yelling like an idiot, and he was dealing with that. Karkat whispers, and behind him you can see Solix going through his own silent but expressive facial journey. The moment that I can speak the same language as you people, I swear. Will you listen to me? I'm trying to tell you that we're in a dangerous situation. We're really not. Fuck, maybe I should go after Jake? Oh no, you're not going anywhere. Old Dave moves to the side slightly, enough to block Dave's direct path to the door. He's clearly intending on keeping Dave in this room, and the beginnings of fear start to spike in your friend. You don't have to guess why. He was recently abducted and imprisoned. Of course he's not into this. You have to say something. I think you can maybe calm your rumble spheres, old man. There was apparently some weird ghost shit going on earlier, and he saw it. He said I was all in its thrall, or whatever. You wave your hands. I don't know about that, and the balance felt fine when I checked it with Aradia, but it's not like people can sneak up on me easily. He says I was out of it and singing along, but from my point of view, I was washing my hands, and then all suddenly he was up in my grill with his hands grabbed at my shirt. That's near impossible to do, Dave says, and he'd know. You two pair up for stealth exercises a bunch. He's a sneaky fucker, and even he'd find that a massive challenge. There was a song, and all these balancers and people in uniform. There was water, too. Seawater, inky dark. It was flooding everywhere, and running out of Gamzee's eyes. It's the same thing that I've been feeling this whole time. That thing behind that portal of Solix's on the volcanic island. It's the storm in that ocean, the dead star you've been dreaming of. It's huge and angry, and it's not human, and I've been trying to tell you all about it, but none of you want to listen. It's him! Get your finger out of my face, Dave snaps, apparently done with Spanish. You probably would be too. What do you mean that he's not human? I'm assuming that you mean that literally and not as an insult because we're not human, Karkat asks. You sound like Kangaroo, Solix tells Karkat, immediately offending him. I mean that he's not human. I mean there are more things out there than just ghosts, and this is something pretending to be human. In my experience, anything doing this kind of act does it because people are food for it, and it wants to blend in so it can feed. I think you need to explain this from the beginning, because this isn't making a lot of sense. If you're okay with that, Dave. Aradia checks with Dave, who just shrugs. He's already accused me of murder and not being human, so why not? Cluedo time or whatever. Dave says, though he's clearly not thrilled.
There was a whole thing with the ghosts just now. Hey, you were there. You were one of them.
Earth Dave is pointing to one of the ghosts. It's another Dave. This one is your Dave's dead uncle. He was Bro's brother and did everyone the massive solid of helping to kill that bastard double dead. He's currently crouched idly at the edge of the foam pit and seems mostly unbothered by Earth Dave pointing at him. He even opens his mouth to say something, but it's just,
"Ooh, leave me out of this. I'm not getting in trouble with my mother for this. Nope."
Helpful. Earth Dave looks pissed, but he can probably sense his credibility slipping away, so he powers on without the dead man's support.
There are things that impersonate people, replacing dead people to feed off of the living. None of you expected him to survive, and now he's here, but because you all want him alive, no one is questioning it. He refuses medical tests, anything that might show that he's not as human as he's pretending to be, and worse still, he's exploiting the shit my actual great-grandson went through to get away with it. Then when he does do some tests, he does them on himself so he could fake whatever he needed. He even made sure that I didn't want to stick around to watch.
That's not what happened. I didn't mean to bring up Sam.
Don't you talk about him! Okay, alright, fine. I'm not exploiting anyone's trauma, just FYI. It's mine.
Aradia looks up from her palm husk with a sigh and then speaks loud enough to cut over both men. Hey! I can see how this might look from the outside, how avoiding medical things would seem suspicious in other situations, but this is different. Karkat chimes in, but he's doing it in Spanish, so you have to look at your translator to know what the hell he's saying. There's definitely something going on, and you're right that there seems to be a theme with water and darkness. I told you about the funeral song.
Your own dream told you that something had replaced your Dave. On some level, you know that I'm right. You went looking for him that night, but I'd stayed up to make sure that something that I could see wasn't human wasn't going to go hunting. You went looking for him because he vanished out of your bed without either of you waking up. Then he shows up down here without ever going past me. I didn't see him, and I absolutely did not fall asleep.
Well, I didn't fall asleep. I was going to say that Dave can sort of teleport a little bit. He's always been able to do that, right?
Show off,
you say quietly to Dave, earning you a faint, brief smile and a quiet, "Get good," in return. Earth Dave looks wildly stressed and frustrated. Clearly this is not going how he wanted. He looks up when Solok starts talking, except he's speaking in English, so now you have to look at your translator for that, too. Motherfucking multilingual arguments. You said I should trust you, that I owed you that, and I do. Maybe there's something up with Dave that we don't know about.
Thank you.
If there's something weird with how he feels, then we can figure it out. We've dealt with plenty of weird shit, right? Dave is leaning towards you to read your translator, and you're not sure why he's not reading his own. He brushes against you to get close enough, and oh, that is an incredible amount of tension and unease that he's got going on there. His body language isn't showing it at all. He's faking normal well enough to fool you, or he would be if he hadn't brushed against your chuckle voodoos by touching you. His hands are empty and out of his pockets. You could guess that his fingers and wrists are still sore, that standing casually with his hands in his pockets wouldn't be comfortable. But as someone who's fought barehanded with Dave plenty, you know better. Dave is on edge enough that he's prepared for a fight. We're smart enough to figure this out and fix it. We can take a minute and think. That's a better way of doing things. Better than all this.
We're a little bit late for that. I'm telling you that he's already killed someone. You can't just say that.
You argue back.
Dave was right here in this room, and he can flash step around, sure, but not all the time, and he sure as shit can't get all the way to Red Glare's ship to kill the captain.
You argue. Aradia says uncertainly, and that has everyone's attention on her. I'm not sure about that. We did all manage to jump the ship forward together based on Dave's ability to do that. I don't know if he could go that far on his own, but maybe he could. Making that landing would be pretty much impossible, though, for sure.
Even if he could, how would Dave turn one room in the middle of the ship into the vacuum of space? Then once he's done that, get back here without anyone noticing he was gone. Into the room that Aradia was in, without her noticing from the balance, or Jake noticing all the foam in this thing moving when he came back. Yeah, no. You scoff. Yeah, my last experience of getting outer space inside was not, subtle, Dave says in a tense voice. Nothing you do is subtle. Still, he's right. Something is weird here, Solix adds. Jesus, one more time then. I'm telling you that this is not your Dave. It's something else faking it. You brought me here for a reason, so listen to me when I'm trying to tell you that. That's Dave. I know Dave when I see him. You're seeing what you want to see, what that thing wants you to see. He's going around punching ghosts, something that no one else can do, something that you told me he couldn't do before. He's sneaking around to avoid me and teleporting, something that you all just swore you'd know if he'd done, but somehow he got out of bed and got past me that way without waking either of you up. That's not... Well, Karkat woke up suddenly. Maybe Dave woke him up by doing that? I'm pretty sure that you both told me he was down here for ages, so long that the light had turned off. You know, the motion-sensitive light that stays on when people are in here. You shake your head. You've been on missions with Dave when he's done his meditation thing, and he goes so still. You can buy that the lights in here would turn off with him doing that. It's not like they usually have to be all that sensitive. That might prove that Dave is being weird, but after everything, I think he's allowed to be a little weird, Aradia says in Dave's defense. All of you hear that your captain isn't going to be punished. He gets real mad about it, and she turns up dead. She turns up dead right after all of these ghosts who showed up with him. The other Balancer and Sailor ghosts? Yes! They showed up with you too, not just Dave. Also, 3 of them are your family too, so are you saying they're part of this? I don't know. They won't talk to me. Maybe he's stopping them. Also, I think you're cheating here. If Dave was really a monster pretending to be my boyfriend and Solix's partner, then why would he care about the captain? Why kill her? Because all of you care, probably. Because it means something to you. Also, I've not ruled out that this isn't what ate your Dave out there in space before following the trail back here. Oh, Dave says quietly, and strangely enough, he doesn't feel as on edge as he did before. He's pretty chill for a guy being accused of murdering and replacing your friend. What is he seeing that you're not? You told me there was something outside the ship trying to get in, and I'm telling you that it did. You brought me here for a reason, Solix. Listen to me. I didn't want you to die on Earth. That's the reason. Dave curses quietly under his breath and leans away from you. He takes a step towards his great-grandfather, and it looks like he's trying to keep his body language non-threatening, a big difference to how on edge he was earlier. When he speaks to him, it's in his own language again, meeting him where he's at. Hey, I get it, all right? I'm not going to let you do this. I get that you're trying to help. It's what we do, right? There's always someone who needs something, always stuff you gotta watch out for. It was the same for you on Earth, I bet. How old were you when you started being able to do this? Balancing, or whatever you call it on Earth. I'm not telling you shit. Okay, well, I'm gonna guess that it was pretty early. Your mother was like us, and your daughter too. Don't you dare talk about them! I'm not. I'm trying to talk about you. Because it sounds like your whole life has been about this balance shit. Spooky bullshit that you never asked for. We didn't ask for it. But it takes over your whole life, right? How much did you lose from it? Jobs and shit, or relationships. Not to mention how you had to be taught this, and then you had to teach it to Sophia, too. Like you didn't ask for it, and now you have to pass it on. Shut up! What are you doing? I can feel that! You feel it, too. Or at least, you feel a lump in your throat, and without you even realizing that you'd got that emotional, you feel a tear spill down your cheek. You never asked for this, and that's never going to stop hurting, is it? No, I get it. I'm the same. But for you, some hot alien shows up and dumps some prophecy and a spooky scavenger hunt in your lap, and you don't get a choice. When do we ever? Your whole planet dies. You leave your family, and you show up here. So obviously there's something wrong here. Obviously you were brought here for a reason, because if it's just that Solix didn't want to leave you to die, then nothing means anything.
The older Dave backs up and then tries to say something, but seems to choke on the words. As he coughs and splutters, your Dave keeps talking.
If there's no big mystery to solve or void shit to fight, then you're just here, and that's a lot to deal with. It's not fair, and you've lost so much. I know what it's like. I lost so much.
Old Dave coughs again and then looks at his hand. He turns it to show Solix, and you're relieved that it's not red with blood. You don't need more people in mortal danger. He's just in emotional danger. You've talked this out with your doc before, about how you can focus on one thing because the real problem is too terrible to face. You've talked about how anger is a secondary emotion, and in this case, you're betting that it's grief and fear that are powering old Dave.
It's salt water. I just coughed up salt water. It's not just me. Look at him.
Karkat and Solix look at you and jolt in alarm right as another tear rolls down your cheek without your permission. Are you crying? Solix blurts out. Fuck that! What's wrong with your eyes? Karkat asks and marches over to you.
I don't know. What's wrong with them? I don't feel like I'm crying.
You tell him, and Karkat grabs for your face and turns your head this way and that to see. You're a little concerned that Solix might have an issue with that, since Karkat isn't your Morwell anymore, but he's not really in a position to complain. Not after his whole too-close friendship with Karkat when you were still with him. For what it's worth, Solix doesn't look annoyed by this at all, just concerned. Typical. Your eyes are really dark. You really don't look like you're crying, but... Karkat catches the tear that was about to drip off of your chin. It runs down his finger, and you can't help but note that it looks darker than your usual purple hue.
Probably paint making it look like that,
you say, though you can hear the uncertainty in your voice. What the hell is happening here? Karkat hisses, flicking the tear off of his claws. I knew things couldn't go this well. There's always some kind of catch, but I was hoping I was just being pessimistic. He cranes his neck around to look at the two Daves. They're still going at it, and you still don't speak Spanish, so you've got to catch up.
Even that Vriska ghost knows that you're not human. I heard her say so. I translated it when she was arguing with Solix's ghost. I don't know what you're talking about. You don't speak the language, and those two say all kinds of shit. That could be anything. Get her here and ask her then. I'm not making her do anything.
How convenient! Dave, I wouldn't normally say this, but maybe Vriska might be helpful here. If she and Matuna... I assume it was Matuna? Aradia glances over at old Dave, who just shrugs. I'm guessing they were saying something and he misunderstood. If that's the case, then we can clear it up right now. There's a pull from Solix's direction, and then Matuna appears, looking confused and uneasy with the obviously tense situation.
Fucking fine,
Dave mutters, and now Vriska's involved in this mess. This seems like something that didn't need to happen, Vriska remarks as she looks around the room.
Yeah, it didn't need to. I didn't want to drag you somewhere since we're not doing this balance or ghost shit like we agreed, but here we are because I can see that refusing to bring you here makes me somehow more suspicious of being some kind of monster and possibly a murderer,
your Dave says in exasperation. Shocking, Vriska says flatly. Can you stop being a bitch and tell him what you really said when he tried translating your conversation? Can both of you do that? Solix asks, shooting both ghosts a sharp look. What? Can I remember the exact words that I said to Matuna in an argument that this guy, who doesn't speak Alternian, badly repeated into his palm husk? No, I don't remember every word that I say. That's for other people to do. Vriska sneers. Earth Dave asks for a translation, since, as already stated, he doesn't speak Alternian and the translators don't pick up ghost talk. As Solix more or less repeats what Vriska said, you watch Vriska glaring at Matuna. Hold up! Are you assholes holding some kind of trial on Dave here? He's your partner! What are you doing? Matuna demands.
I don't know, man,
your Dave says unhappily.
I think he's having a hard time dealing. I mean, I get it. I've been there, but I'm not loving this either.
Karkat sighs. We're not accusing you of anything, Dave, but if something weird is happening, then I want to know about it, especially if there's any chance that it could escalate and hurt someone. I don't want anything happening to you again, he says soothingly, although you notice the old man roll his eyes at that.
They said you weren't human. All of these ghosts seem incredibly attached to you too, like you're one of them. I'm not a ghost. You need to drop this because you're getting to the limits of my sympathy for your situation, and honestly, you're starting to really piss me off. I'm getting warmer then. How about this? Solix took me through that big-ass spooky door, and he physically touched me to do it. I ran into him on this side as I came through, but not you, though. Yeah, I woke up in my own coffin, and considering that, I think I'm being really goddamn patient with you. That was a real entrance, yeah. There was a big black cloud of ghost energy that swirled around and then hit that coffin, and suddenly you're here and you're physical. It was definitely dramatic, you leaping out of the coffin for my dead great-grandson. Really memorable. Stop saying I'm dead!
Hey! Back your ancient ass up, bitch! What's your fucking problem? And you! Matuna shouts, leaping right up into old Dave's face and screeching his objections right at him, and also at Solix, too. Dave's not dead. I saved both of you. You were there. Solix tries to say, apparently too stressed to try saying it in another language.
Does your normal teleportation trick look like that? I'm guessing it doesn't, because I feel like people would have mentioned a wave of visible and ominous ghost energy if that normally went with it. No, there was a lot of ghosts on the other side, including you.
Stop saying that!
Explain it then. Go on.
The older Dave shoves yours in the chest. Not hard, but it's a push, like he wants to start a fight. You can almost taste the fear and anger coming off of your Dave. You've had plenty of fights with Dave, but they were either in a controlled setting or a situation where you'd both agreed to it, unless it was a meaningless scuffle that ended with laughter. The point is that your Dave knows that you're not out here trying to do him real harm. Physical aggression from someone that he isn't cool with when he didn't agree to it is something else entirely. Worse still, this is someone that he's related to trying to attack him. Like Dave hasn't had enough of that. Naturally, Dave's body locks up, the dial of responses landing firmly on freeze for now, but you can feel the pressure building that could easily lead to it snapping to fight. And then, old Dave is going to get his ass handed to him. Don't touch him! Matuna shrieks, but that gets no reaction from the older Dave. If anything, it just seems to make yours tense up more.
Yeah, enough of this.
You agree, but old Dave speaks again and in a different language.
Don't say anything, but he's not breathing. Everyone here wanted my great-grandson back, so when you show up, it's great. No one wants to question it.
You pause for a second and really look at Dave. He's frozen in front of the older one, and incredibly still. He's right. He's not breathing. Dave must be holding his breath in fear or something, right? You did that as a kid, hoping to be so quiet that GHB wouldn't notice you.
At first I thought that maybe things were just different here. Solix had said that the balance was different here, so... And I don't know how giant time doors work. Maybe this was normal. But then you're able to touch her. Vriska, to touch other ghosts. No one else can do that, and you couldn't do that before, according to what everyone says. Now you can, because you're different.
This needs to stop. This isn't the right way to do this. Dave, come on, just come here. Karkat holds a hand out to Dave and takes a step towards him, but there's no reaction at all. What's worse is you still haven't seen Dave take a breath at all. His shirt is pretty skin tight, and there's not been any shift in his ribcage or anything to show him breathing. Even if he was breathing in fast and small breaths, you could surely see it.
What the hell? No, none of that. How about you tell me the answer to the big question here? If you're really my great-grandson, how about you tell me how you held your breath in outer space? How you survived out there for, what, a day?
It was...
Not asking you, Karkat. I followed the singing to the ship. That's all.
Dave spoke.
He spoke, and you're watching, but you can't see him drawing in another breath at all. You glance at Aradia and see that she's just as alarmed as you are. How did you not run out of air? If you're really him, then tell me how. I didn't. Vriska was there. Vriska winces at the sound of her name, but she doesn't do anything more than that. Mituna looks antsy as hell, like he's on the edge of screaming something again, but is desperately trying not to make this worse. And during all of this, Dave is still not breathing, even though you've heard him speak. Dave, breathe! You're not breathing! Solix shouts at him, and that snaps Dave's attention to him. The older one looks at his translator and groans in irritation. Fuck me. Okay, this is going to be bad. Tell me what you are, because you're not alive and you're not human. I can feel... The older Dave is demanding all of this, trying to get the still not breathing Dave's attention back on him. He dumbly tries to force it, by grabbing Dave, by grabbing him by his scarred and fucked up forearm. All of you shout at him in warning, telling him not to do that, but it's either too late or old Dave's not interested in listening. There's a sound. The kind of thing that belongs in tech labs. A noise that would make you sure that whatever electrical equipment made it is utterly broken now. There's a flash, and the older Dave is launched across the room, though he manages to roll as he lands and staggers to his feet. Don't touch me! Dave shouts at him. You freeze at the sound. You know what it sounds like when ghosts talk. What sound that doesn't go through your ears sounds like. Oh, Dave, your arm, Aradia gasps. No, fuck! No, stop that! Mituna barks at her, but it doesn't stop Dave from pulling his arm away from his body. He'd clutched it close to his chest when he wrenched it from the other Dave, but now he's looking at it, and so are you. Or you're looking through it. The shape of Dave's arm is there, but it's not the pale skin that you're used to. It's black and translucent like dark water. Inside the watery shape of Dave's arm are bones. You watch the two bones in his forearm twist as Dave turns his hand to stare at himself. No, this... Dave... Solix whimpers. Hey, what? This isn't... You're cool! It's fine! Mituna insists loudly. What happened? Dave asks, his voice lost, somehow passing through your ears and not all at once. I made it back. I lived. Dave insists, and looks up at Solix, and for just a moment, you see through part of his face to the bones of his skull. Mituna ignores his ancestor's agony and gets between them with a bright smile plastered on his face, insisting, Yeah, you're fine! You made it! I don't think you're fine, Dave. You didn't know about this, did you? Aradia asks him, but Dave just looks lost. Dave, no! Karkat whispers, his voice on the edge of tears. I just wanted to come home, Dave says, and the agony in his voice sends tears streaming down your face. You're not crying. You feel like you could, but you know that you aren't. Yet, tears are streaming down your face faster than any person could ever possibly cry. Across the room, the older Dave doubles over, coughing wetly. You did come home! Mituna insists. Shut up! I warned you, didn't I? And now look, this is so much worse! Vriska snaps at him. You were there with me, Dave says, looking at Vriska, who doesn't say anything, even if the look of pained sympathy on her face says plenty. I didn't make it, Dave whispers. The lights above you dim and flicker, and between 1 millisecond of light and darkness, Dave is gone. As soon as he vanishes, the tears stop running freely from your eyes, and old Dave manages to hack one last time and clear his throat. That's all the evidence that Dave was there at all, aside from a shared sense of horror and a lingering smell of sea spray. Mituna explodes into a fit of obscenities, though there's suddenly no Vriska around to argue with him. Karkat breaks into a sob, even if he's trying to muffle it with his hands. I told you it wasn't him, so if we could start believing me now, then that would be great. Although, it looked like there were bits of him in there, so I think that might be what ate him. Will you give us a fucking second, old man? You snarl at him, fully happy to unleash enough voodoos on him to make him shriek like a wiggler. Speaking of shrieking, the skyrocketing tension from Solix is pinging your voodoos hard. It's even more concerning when you consider that Solix is physically still and silent, just staring at the space that had Dave in it moments ago. Shit, fix Solix before he turns this room into a blender! You hiss at Karkat and shove him that way. Karkat stumbles in Solix's direction, and they more or less catch hold of each other. No way are you going to get anything useful out of Solix anytime soon, so you can count him out. You touch your face and get another look at the not tears that you were crying without actually crying.
Gamzee, we need to figure... okay.
Aradia walks over to you, but pauses as you lick the not tears on your hand. It's really salty. Saltier than tears. You tell her.
Well, licking things is a kind of science,
Aradia says after a pause.
There's definitely a saltwater theme going on here.
Dead! I was supposed to bring them both back, and he's dead! I left him! He died in space, and it's my fault! Solix's voice reaches a yell that grabs your attention, despite Karkat trying to shoosh him away from the unavoidable breakdown.
Here's what I don't get. Why did nothing go wrong until now, and why are you and that Dave having similar reactions to it when the rest of us aren't?
Aradia asks, gesturing to your tear-streaked face and at the other Dave, who is catching his breath in front of a puddle that he had coughed up. No idea, and I still think that was Dave. I'm not sure how alive he is, but that's Dave. I don't think he killed the captain either. You tell her. Earth Dave reacts to that with agitation and disbelief, but you don't have a lot of time for anything that he has to say right now. You know Dave when you see him, and that was him. This guy cornered and interrogated him, stressed him the fuck out to get him to this point, on purpose. You don't fuck with that kind of behavior.
You're right that something was wrong with Dave, absolutely. You're right that the other ghosts are being weird, but that doesn't mean that Dave did this. I don't think that he knew about this at all, Aradia argues. I can't think that there was something pretending to be Dave with us this whole time. I can't, Karkat adds. That doesn't mean that he thinks that it's impossible, just that he can't stand the idea. But even if you can tell that from his tone of voice, you agree, saying, No, I know Dave when I see him. That was him. I don't know what happened, but it was him. Yeah, we don't know what happened. How about you tell us, Mituna?
Aradia asks, turning her focus on him.
You were trying to tell Dave that everything was fine, even when...
Karkat is interrupted by Solix wailing that he could see his bones!
Even when it was obvious that things weren't fine. What do you know, Mituna?
Mituna shakes his head several times before exploding into a screaming fit.
Man, this is stupid! Fucking bullshit! And this cocksucker here!
And he hits a pose out of one of Tavros's silly reading games, pointing dramatically at Earth Dave. Went and ruined it! Solix, you should have left him to die on his stupid planet. Fucking deadbeat dad fucked everything up. A+ at ruining families! No wonder everyone hates you! Mituna! Solix pleads, only for Mituna to turn his rage on him.
No! You let him! You're his partner and you just stood there useless with your bulge in your hand or whatever the fuck. I'm out! Got places to be!
Mituna vanishes with a snarl. Solix sobs into Karkat's shoulder, but you don't really have time for this shit, and it seems that Aradia doesn't either, since she asked Solix to get Mituna back here. Earth Dave asks something, and Aradia nods and answers.
Yes, Mituna is one of Solix's ghosts, so he can pull him back here to, oops.
You look around to see a puzzled-looking psionic floating nearby, puzzlement that turns to concern as he picks up on the obviously bad situation going on. Fuck, can't do anything right. Solix mutters and tries again. Nothing happens, except Psionic makes a curious noise.
Solix curses quietly, and his brow scrunches up with effort, but the most that dumb look on his face achieves is making Psionic vanish and reappear instantly, about 6 inches closer to Solix. I can't get him, Solix says with rising panic. I can feel Natuna there, but I can't get him here. I can't do it! Karkat frowns, and Signless pops into the room. Aradia grabs Damara as well. They both turn to look at you while their ghosts spin around, getting their bearings.
I really don't want to get GHB here. I don't know if I can make him get lost again, and I might need him later, so I don't want him dealing with the guy.
You say, gesturing to Psionic. Okay. Aradia sighs, and then straightens up, her voice taking on the serious tone that it does on missions. We don't know exactly what's happening. Something is up with Dave. Either he's a ghost, possessed, infected with the void, or maybe that was something pretending to be him. Or it was something that ate him. We don't know.
I know Dave. That was Dave.
You say, and for you, it's as simple as that. We need to find him. We're not going to tell anyone about this except for Nepeta, and we treat this the same as we would on Skaya. We don't tell his family until we know what's going on. We're not putting those people through anything more if we don't have to, Aradia says firmly. He's dead. Mindfang was looking for me, and he... Solix chokes on his words. Karkat, you stay here with Solix and this Dave. Make sure that they don't leave and no one finds out about... Give me that! Aradia snatches Earth Dave's palm husk away from him and tosses it at Karkat. Earth Dave protests unintelligibly in Spanish. You fail to care.
The two of us split up and search for him then? We're locked in quarantine, but I know you can handle that lock.
You say. You know Aradia's psionics can handle that much. It doesn't matter what we're dealing with here, she replies. We have to find him and figure out what's going on. I think it'd be best if we search places that Dave might go and work out from there.
I could take his hive, our doc's office, Tortuga, maybe the gym after that. The ghosts could look in other places, and if they find him, they could come back and Karkat control us.
You suggest. Yeah, good idea. I'll try his dad's place, Rose and Kanaya's hive, the IT office, and maybe Jade's place. They were together for a long time. He could feel safe there. Aradia agrees, and that's good because you're not sure that you know how to get to any of those places without looking them up. Okay, you've got a plan. It's always easier to feel calm and in control when you have a plan. So long as everyone sticks to the plan, that is. That's always the motherfucking thing. Earth Dave is supremely unhappy with this and is trying to get his palm husk back from Karkat. So you put your hand on Karkat's shoulder to lean forward to get on this Dave's eye level a bit better. And boy, he sure doesn't like having a staring contest with you. What a surprise. It makes him back off, though. You take the opportunity to whisper in Karkat's ear.
Get something useful out of him, and if he tries to leave and tell anyone what's happened, then you knock him out and stop him.
He turns to look at you after that, and since you're stare contested out, you start walking away and say a bit louder over your shoulder.
That's an order!
Karkat is definitely going to have his hands full. As you walk past him, it's plain to see that Solix is already falling apart, gibbering uselessly about how this is all his fault and how he failed Dave when he was supposed to save him. All that prolonged manic functioning throughout Dave's abduction has finally come due. Behind you, Karkat finally squeaks out a weak, "Okay," and you and Aradia march off. It looks like news about the captain's death has been made public, at least within your quarantine area, and that, thankfully, provides you with a distraction. When you and Aradia slip past people on your way to the quarantine entrance, there's a lot of muted conversations going on in small clustered groups, lots of hushed whispers of her name. There's a sense of unease you recognize as people trying to respond appropriately, and at the same time they deal with their own feelings. It actually works out pretty well for you. It means that no one asks you shit. Before you leave the quarantine area, you quickly check the room that Dave, Solix, and Karkat have been sharing, because you'd feel really stupid if you checked the whole ship for him and didn't check there first. He isn't there, so the pair of you head to the door to the quarantine area.
Pretty sure there's an alarm.
You warn her as you look it over. Aradia pauses, and one eye closes a little as she makes a face that looks like she's trying to get something unstuck from between two of her back teeth. Above you, there's a metallic crunch and a sad little noise of an alarm dying a little electric death somewhere in a ceiling panel. Aradia marches to the door, where she psionically crunches the lock and pulls the door open with a sharp metal-on-metal sound. A thought announces itself in your head. You were going to tell Nepeta about this, and she could have probably opened this door for you. Sensibly, you keep the thought in your think pan and don't let it out of your mouth, especially as Aradia rams the door back in place after you with a little more force than needed. I am getting very tired, Aradia announces with cheery anger, of things hurting my friends. I'm getting fed up with everything going wrong all of the time, and I'm not happy. Still, we're going to do what we can. She smiles brightly at you. Helpfully, your voodoos inform you on instinct that you wouldn't have to push her too far for her to end up screaming and laughing all covered in multicolored blood after letting that righteous rage out. It's possibly the least reassuring smile you have ever seen, and that's saying something. Instead of mentioning that, you say, I know that was Dave. I know it. He didn't know about any of this either. Messiahs, that'll stay in your think sponge forever, Dave's small voice saying that he just wanted to come home. You saw him look at his own bones and realized that he must have died after all. Fuck. Mituna and Vriska knew, so why wouldn't they say anything? Aradia asks as she forges a path towards the emergency transport line.
Solix couldn't get him back either. Does that mean something, or is it just him losing it?
Don't say it like that, Aradia says with a frown, but you just shrug. He is losing it, you saw. The two of you get onto the emergency line train, and Aradia punches the buttons for the both of you. You sigh wearily and make a suggestion.
After we find Dave, we could tie the other one to the train tracks. Seems fair for throwing this at us.
Don't tempt me. He pulls this like, is this what teamwork looks like? No, that's not what we asked for. Aradia hisses with a furious rattle in her tone.
I'll give you an alibi,
you offer, and get a weak laugh back in response from Aradia. The handrail in the train is cool to the touch. You absently run your thumb claw over it. You're trying to get yourself focused for the task at hand, scouring the ship for Dave, but your mind is still churning.
If we're wrong, if that isn't Dave and it's something faking it,
you say slowly. It will pay, Aradia says, like she's telling you a science fact. But I think we're right. I think that is Dave, or he's in there at least.
Fuck me, can't the guy just rest in peace?
You ask helplessly. Aradia doesn't have anything to say to that, you guess. After a moment of sad silence, she says, This is you, as the train slows to a stop. When you get out, you're near Dave's hive. You breathe and focus as the train speeds away, trying to feel your voodoos like a ball of light in your chest. As you walk out of the emergency line and up through the main station, the crowd parts for you like a hot knife through butter, people skittering away, a few small children even bursting into tears. Your walk is smooth, efficient, and what Karkat has previously dubbed the murder walk during a long lecture about how you shouldn't do it anymore because of stereotypes and representation. Other than the cool name for your walk, you had kind of tuned out most of the rest of it, because it's not like you don't get it. You're not a fan of your ancestor and his kind. You don't like how your caste behaved before. Even so, there's a lot to say for making everyone leave you the fuck alone and get the fuck out of your way. The journey to Dave's hive is uninterrupted, unchallenged, and speedy. As it ought to be. You let yourself in, glad that Karkat had the thought to add you to the guest hours list just in case something went sideways. Something has certainly gone some direction, that's for sure. Dave? You cup your hands around your mouth as you call into the room. Dave, it's me. Are you here? There's no answer in the hive, which appears extremely empty. You try to get into Dave's block, but the door is locked. Your stupid guest access doesn't extend that far. Fuck. You look around and spot Karkat's mission bag lazily dumped in the main room by the back of the lounge plank.
You're supposed to put your gear away, Karkat, you mutter under your breath and reach into the bag.
You don't have psionics like Aradia, but you have Karkat's multi-tool, leverage, high blood strength, and a working knowledge about how these ships are put together. You jam the tool in the door, lean one way, lean the other, and yank. The door mechanism snaps as the left half of the door thunks so far into the wall cavity that you know it'll be a bitch to get out. Unfortunately, there's no Dave inside, and you do check his wardrobe and under all of his furniture, even the ceiling, just in case. After breaking 2 more doors and checking the ablution block, you're confident that Dave isn't here. You shoot a message into the balancer chat to let the others know what's what. Aradia's not done with her first stop just yet, but she is there, and she hasn't found Dave right in the middle of the room or anything. Karkat lets you know that Damara, Psionic, and Signless are looking as well, but other than that, he's quiet. He must have his hands full. Kotard is alarmed and concerned when you show up out of nowhere, though you do your best to get a grip on your voodoos and not spook the good doc. Dave isn't there either, so you hastily bail before you have to answer questions about why you're so upset, what's going on, and why you're not still in quarantine. Kotard still asks those things, of course, but you sprint out of the building without answering any of them. That's probably going to come up the next time you have therapy, but you'll deal with that then. Probably. You rush to Tortuga, pump biscuit in your throat. You have to find Dave. Aradia's search is proving equally fruitless. You have to find him. You have to keep moving. Whenever you slow down or stop, all you can hear is Dave's small and horrified voice as he looked at his own bones. But Tortuga is another fucking dead end full of sailors who haven't seen Dave and suddenly are all remembering other places they need to be right now. In an act of desperation, you grab a guitar and strum some terrible note. Your claws are too long to press the strings down right. The instrument that sounds like magic in Dave's hands sounds like something dead and mangled in yours. Your breath hitches, and this time the tears prickling at your eyes and threatening to spill are yours. You clutch the guitar to your chest and will Dave to appear. This guitar isn't his, but he's used it 1,000,000 times. That's gotta leave some trace of his soul on it, right? You look down at it like you can try to pull him out of the thing, but your eyes land on a faded sticker up near where the neck of the guitar meets the body. The edges of it are peeling up slightly, but it's still perfectly readable. It's advertising Dave's shitty webcomic. There's no way you can start crying if your eyes are shut, so you screw them as tightly closed as you can and cling to the guitar. You already had his funeral. How can you lose him again? This is a nightmare! This is a nightmare. You sit up a little bit straighter as the idea starts to come together for you. You know that this isn't literally a nightmare because you're not dreaming this, unfortunately. You can tell the difference. But it's a nightmare all the same, and it's a nightmare for Dave, too. He thought he was home, and then something destroys that for him. It's the nightmare scenario, but you're both awake. Aradia lets you all know that she didn't find Dave at the IT office, which makes sense since Dave only went there when his brother or Solix were there, and neither of them are there now. You tell them that you're searching somewhere else, and you let them know where you're going. Then you shove your palm husk away before you can see any responses to your plan and leave the bar. It's funny, you know the way there, but you've never gone there from Tortuga. Dave has told you that when he's blind, he mostly navigates by following his frequent paths, that he memorizes routes, and it'd be hard to get from one place to another if he hadn't gone between those 2 points much when sighted. This is like that, an unfamiliar route to a far too familiar destination. It's been so long since you've let yourself into this hive stem, even longer since you've done so alone. Karkat has been with you before, but not for years and years. You hesitate outside of the front door, your digestion sac churning. You press the button by the door, and it unlocks immediately, revealing the dark and empty main room. No one has lived in your old hive since you left it. You never wanted anyone else here. You never wanted anyone living in the hive that features in your nightmares, much less sleeping in the room that you saw Kurlos die in. The captain did, at least, allow you to keep this place empty. One of the few solids she had ever really done you, even though it absolutely broke policy. The front door shuts behind you, all but silent thanks to the booming sound of your pulse beating in your ears. There's a trembling of your hands that makes shame rise up in you, but there's no one else here to see it. The lights flick on overhead, illuminating the abandoned furniture. You remember 13-year-old Carcat furiously righting furniture and straightening the place out so that when you came back, if you ever came back, it didn't look so bad. It doesn't look so bad, just abandoned. The air from the vents smells stale, but otherwise fine. There isn't even some deep layer of dust, just a vacant hive. You will your voice to sound steady and normal when you call out, "Dave?" It sounds mostly all right. Movement catches your eye, and you jump, turning to face it on instinct. It's not Dave, nor is it your ancestor here to make you pay for his death, and it's not Kurlos back from the dead asking why he had to die and not you. It's Vriska. "Gansey, what are you doing here? Also, where is here?" she asks you, leaning awkwardly around the hallway to look at you.
"Why are you here?"
You ask her, entirely goddamn reasonably. Fucking Vriska jump scare. "I asked first," Vriska countered. You clench your hands into fists so they're not shaking so much and walk down the hallway towards her. "I'd look myself, but I can't," Vriska says as you get close to her, and she tries to take a step away from the doorway at the end of the hall, but she's stuck, like she's tethered to something. To someone. "I can see around the corner, just. I couldn't see much with the lights off, and there's not a lot to see with them on. Where the hell is—" she starts.
"It's my hive," you say over her.
"No, it's not. I've been there. You—" Vriska trails off, and her eyes go wide behind her glasses. Oh, this is that hive? The one where—" You nod, once. "Wow, Dave, you take me to the nicest places. First the void, now this," Vriska says under her breath.
"He's here, right? He's here? I was right, he's here," you say, exhaling heavily. It's somehow easier this way. You've been in so many of Dave's nightmares, and he's been in so many of yours, too. The idea of walking into this room is like hell to you, but the idea of getting Dave out of your nightmare makes it feel almost familiar. It must be that you two have more practice at it that way. You open the door to your old bedroom without hesitation and step inside. But whatever you expected to find, it's not this. There's a darkness under your bed that sucks in all light, and the lamp in this room isn't even working. You're only working with what's spilling in from the hallway, which seems to stretch thinly over the space like it's being sucked directly under the bed, where it vanishes completely. "Dave?"
you ask again, but there's no response. "Yeah, good luck with that," Vriska says sullenly from the doorway.
"You knew about this," you accuse. "You knew what was up with him."
Vriska rolls her eyes. "Yeah, I did. I told Matuna and the rest of them that this was a bad idea, but no one listens to me," she snaps.
"Why didn't you tell us? Why didn't you tell Dave? He didn't know about this, did he? I saw how he looked at himself," you demand. There's no way that he knew. No way in hell.
"How do you think it would have gone for me if I'd tried? All I could do was try to change their minds. I couldn't tell anyone else. Besides, I had to keep my mouth shut. Matuna said I owed him. He's gonna hold that over my head forever." Vriska says that last part bitterly, like she made some little mistake instead of kidnapping Matuna and fucking helming him. You breathe and work on being calm, like Karkat taught you. You very sensibly message the others about where you are and that you think Dave is here. You do that because you can't actually strangle Vriska, even if you want to. You're a little bit calmer after that, so you continue with your mission. You can argue with Vriska about this later.
"He's in there, right?" you ask, and point at the darkness under your bed.
Vriska makes a tense, sort of sound and looks at the darkness uneasily. She doesn't seem eager to get involved. You get closer to your old bed in small and careful steps. This is like so many nightmares that you fear that when your feet touch the darkness, you'll plummet into it. That doesn't happen. It's fine. You're fine. When your leg bumps the edge of the bed, it's so low down, so much lower than you remember, because you were so small back then. You stop for a moment. There's a tightness in your throat, but you swallow past it to speak.
"Dave?"
No response. Breathe in, hold it, breathe out. You crouch down to the impossibly dark ground, resting one hand on the mattress and using it for balance as you lean over to look under the bed. There's nothing to see because it's infinitely dark, as far as you can fucking tell anyway. You tip a little further forward to try to see something, to see anything, and you lose your balance. Your hand flies out to catch you before you fall, splayed wide on the floor. It's wet. Your hand is wet. There's cold and wet seeping up between your fingertips, and you were here, small and terrified, as Kurlos died instead of you, dead-eyed staring at you as you hid under this bed, his blood drenching the carpet and wet between your fingers as his life... No. This is no unholy nightmare. Your ancestor is dead. You are an adult now. You're not that little kid anymore. Breathe in, hold it, breathe out. When you lift your hand, you're prepared for it to be nightmare purple from blood long since spilt, but it's not. It's wet, but it's too thin to be blood, and once you catch a bit of light from the doorway before it disappears under the bed, you can see that it's clear. You don't even need to get it all the way to your face before the tang of ocean salt gets you, which means it's more spooky seawater. It's different. You're okay. You put your hand and even forearm down on the floor, leaning forward so your knees touch it too. A little water never hurt nobody. That leaves you free to carefully reach your other hand into the darkness under the bed. When your fingers pass underneath it, they vanish into the darkness as if it was a solid thing. You snatch them back right away, of course, but your claws are still there. This thing isn't destroying anything that goes into it. You just can't see through it. Dave is in there, right? So you have to get him. You reach in blindly, first with your fingers, then your hand, and finally your entire arm, all of which disappear into the blackness as you reach out. Feeling about blindly is unsettling, so you obviously fucking jump when your fingertips collide with something. But you reach out again. The thing in the dark is warm, soft, or at least soft-ish with the solidity underneath. It's skin. You run your fingers one way and then the other and feel the prickle of directional body hair. It's human skin. Your hand wraps around it, and your think sponge struggles to piece an image together for you from just touch. You don't know how Dave does this when he can't see. There's a bone. No, two together. Forearm, then. Wrist, hand, fingers, back the other way, and elbow, bicep. You wrap your hand wholly around that and gently pull, shuffling back to make room. Your hand emerges from the darkness with an upper arm in its grip. Ink patterns are framed between your thumb and forefinger, regular and EV ink glowing to show Laika's face in your grasp. Little bark beast, a forsaken and unvalued little life.
Laika, I've got you.
You whisper to him lowly and pull him out from under the bed. The darkness relinquishes him bit by bit as you pull his body out and onto the more normal floor of your old bedroom. You rush to check his vitals. You already lost Kurlos in here. You'll be damned if you lose another soul on this floor. Training takes over, and you're glad for it. First, you look him over. Laika is whole, no bleeding that you can see, no obvious injuries. He's warm. You felt that as you pulled him free. Lean down to hover your ear above his mouth. Your other hand presses to the side of his neck. Breath is slow and even. Pulse is very slow. Count it and stare at your watch. Do the math. Pulse is low, but not too low for him. He bragged about his resting heart rate once. You remember. Pull back, open his eyes. Remember that this isn't helpful with him, beside noting that the implants are still there. Call his call sign, then his name. No reaction. Try again as you pull up his shirt and press your ear to his chest. Here the breathing is clear and uninterrupted. Take his hand and press your claw into his injured fingers to get a pain response. None found. Get your hands off of his shoulders, sailor. If he has a spinal injury, then you should absolutely not shake him. He's clearly not waking up, even when someone keeps shouting his name at him. Oh, that'd be you. The word Laika is still bouncing around the room when you snap back to yourself, your hands hovering just above his shoulders and shaking slightly. He's not going to just wake up, Vriska says simply. You look sharply up at her, perched on top of an emptied-out set of shelves. Rage shudders inside of you, and you feel your lips pull back in a snarl. You lean forward and rest your hand on the ground by Dave's head, claws snagging on the shitty carpet by his splayed-out white blonde hair.
How about you tell me what happened? Be useful! You snarl at her, clamping down on the voodoos out of concern for what it might do to Dave rather than her.
Dave told you what happened already. He wasn't lying, Vriska says, not answering the question. Your eyes flick to him. He's still and unconscious, but alive. Impossibly alive. You hate this, but the other Dave is right about some part of this, at least. This doesn't make sense, and you don't know how to explain what you saw. Your free hand touches Dave's neck again, where his pulse thumps slowly and paradoxically under your touch.
How? How is he motherfucking alive? I want to say it's a miracle.
You start, and Vriska scoffs at you. It's a pity that you can't kill a ghost just by wanting to. You fix her a look, and she gets to talking, and she'd better be explaining, too. After the song, there was air, like he said, a bubble of it or something. It's not as if we could see it, but it was there, Vriska tells you.
How much air? You ask.
Your eyes flit to his face, but there's no change in color. His veins are normal, all pink and healthy and alive. No signs of asphyxiation here. He's alive and well. Not enough, Vriska says quietly, and when you glance up at her, you see that she's looking down at Dave regretfully. She shakes her head and looks away, but keeps talking. We were in the void. He was alive, but obviously not for long. No one was going to rescue him when we were on the ship, so it definitely wasn't happening after it was destroyed. He was determined to do something, to try something. Either it'd work or it wouldn't, and we were going to be eaten either way, so why not? I didn't want to be alone in there, so whatever.
That sounds like him.
It feels like a eulogy coming out of your mouth, but his pulse is stubbornly still there, persistent under your fingertips. He started getting confused, disoriented, passing out for a few minutes at a time. He said he heard this dog and some singing, so we kept following it, Vriska says. I could hear something, but...
He was suffocating,
you say, watching the slow rise and fall of Dave's chest. I don't think he knew. It was probably the adrenaline or the shock or whatever. Then he passed out and never... Vriska closes her eyes for a moment. You know how not all ghosts know that they're dead? It was me, him, and his body. You pull your gaze away from Laika, from Dave, to turn it on her. Vriska seems small and sad, half see-through on your old furniture. Dave grabbed for her when he got back here and didn't really want to let her go.
You didn't tell him,
you say, sure that you're right. Vriska looks at you sharply, challengingly, her chin lifted defiantly as she replies. The void was going to eat us at any moment, but he still thought he could get home somehow. Telling him wouldn't have done any good, and I'm not a monster, no matter what you think.
He did get home, though. How'd that happen?
You ask. Fuck if I know. The explanation that he gave all of you is the best that I can do. There were all of these ghosts, sailors and whatever. They were all the same. They were all over him and all over that door thing. I could barely keep track of anything, but he dragged me through with him. The next thing I know, he's out of a coffin and grabbing for me like a kid that lost their stuffed bark beast. Then I find out that this living son of a bitch made me his ghost, which I guess is good if it means that I'm not going to fade away, but I don't want to be stuck doing whatever he wants forever. He said it wouldn't be like that, but now I'm stuck here with him, so fuck me, I guess, Vriska says dramatically. You shake your head. She managed to make the miraculous reanimation of Dave all about her somehow. He dies and wades through the void, returns to life, and saves her from dissolving over time. But really, this has to be all about how much Vriska has been inconvenienced. Of course. Breathe.
He didn't know,
you say. I said that! Vriska snaps.
You said the other ghosts didn't want you to say. Why?
You ask, and Vriska looks away sharply.
You're scared,
you conclude. Vriska bristles, but stays silent. Okay, all right, think about this. Laika's condition is stable, but he's out of it. This room is also just as haunted as before. The darkness under the bed is still there. You have Dave's body back, and maybe he's just unconscious, but Vriska seemed pretty certain that you weren't going to wake him up. Dave died. He met those other ghosts and then caved back to life, so now he's here. He gets called on it and starts looking a lot less alive. You saw his bones, for fuck's sake. Then he vanishes and comes here. He shows up here, under your bed, because this is where your worst nightmare is, and his nightmares and your nightmares are one and the same at this point.
He's not going to wake up because this isn't him, right? This is all Dave meet and no Dave,
you say, and let your fingers move from his pulse to his face. The back of your fingers brush his cheekbones slightly, and with your index finger you open one of his eyes. His eyelashes whisper against your fingertip as you look into his softly glowing red iris. The lights are on, but nobody's home. I would like to go back to a time before you said Dave meet. That's what I'd like, Vriska says with a look of disgust.
He's still in there, ain't he?
You ask, jerking your head back towards the darkness under the bed. I'm not going in there. It's not entirely my thing. It is a little bit, but not enough. I can't really help, Vriska tells you, and as she says that, one of her eyes floods with black, only to flicker back to normal pretty quickly. You don't know if that's a dark thing or a light thing or something else entirely. You have no idea what's in there, but this is the nice thing about being past aligned. It doesn't motherfucking matter to you. Carefully, you pick up Dave's body. It's awkward, but you support his weight and hold him against you as you shimmy yourself closer to the darkness. You don't think he has a spinal injury, but you really shouldn't be dragging him about, just in case. His breath huffs against the shell of your ear as you squeeze him a little tighter, trying to make sure you don't drop him. You must have had thousands of dreams collide with his when you were new to this. You likely know his body better than Solix and Karkat do. You could draw out every scar on his skin on your own as you dreamt every injury over and over again. You tried to pull away from one another, of course. You couldn't stand each other at first, and how could you when it felt like he was inside your pan against your will? Neither of you wanted this. Neither of you deserved this. Your lives have been a nightmare in stereo. You aren't friends. You can't be friends with when you sometimes feel like you are him. When only you could hear Bro as well. When only he could listen to GHB's snarled, tormenting words. He's a sailor, a balancer. He's Dave. He's Laika. You don't want to be his friend. You don't want to hang out with him. You can't stand that much. And, because it is an and not a but, you will not think twice about what is in the darkness under there. You will find him, and you will not leave him behind. What is in there, or what you'll do about any of that future stuff, is useless shit. You don't need it. Dave is the past, his and yours all tangled up, and he'd do this for you without a thought too. You'll figure the rest out when you get there. You don't need to worry about it. You lay Dave's body down gently at the edge of the darkness, and look him over one last time. Honestly, the idea that you're friends with Dave is stupid. You have to like your friends, and you can stop being friends with people. It happens all the time. How motherfucking small and meaningless something like friendship is. How pathetic it seems when people try to hold it up to you and Dave. You aren't friends. You tell Vriska,
don't let anyone move him. I'll be back with the rest of him soon, and then we can put the asshole back together.
What are you doing? You could die! Vriska says in a panic, looking at you getting ready to throw yourself under the bed and into the infinitely crushing darkness.
Yeah?
You say with a laugh, and throw yourself into the abyssal darkness. You've got to get Dave back. And I have got to go on break. Back in a few. I'm back. Okay, yeah, I did unmute. Okay. That's pretty important. It's pretty important to make sure. How we feeling? Dave. Yeah, that's about right, I think. Oh, man. Okay, well. I see little purpose in delaying things further. So, I mean, I don't have anything to say before. You are a dork. You are a dork. It's official. Given how long my intro accidentally was, I see little purpose in delaying the rest of this, so let's just dive back in much the same way as Gamzee has dived into the dark. Normal and fine, probably. The darkness is absolute. It's void dark, a physical thing pressing around you from every side. Fear floods you immediately. You know that you cannot possibly reach back to the room you were just in. You can't get out, and you don't even know which way is up. Your eyes burn, and a hint of something passes through the seal of your lips. Salt water, sea, the ocean. The water on the floor was salt water. The water flooding down your face was too. The other Dave was choking on it. Deep and dark, the ocean that gave you the name of sailor in the first place. Water or space, it makes no difference. It's still a dark sea. Your lungs burn and the chuckle-voodoo's in your head thrum with fear, but it's the dark. It's sitting by Dave and the other sailors on a dark planet, staring up at the sky as you pass around smuggled booze. It's pulling him out of his nightmares and you out of yours. It's singing the universe into safety. It's snapping your fingers and banishing your ancestor's ghost. You imagine Dave running out of air in the infinite dark and shake your head, feeling your hair slide through the water around you as you do. You are not afraid. Willingly, you open your mouth and exhale, bubbles streaming away and dark water filling your lungs. You breathe, and you're fine. You should fear the void, but the ocean is the thing that carries a ship away from it, right? No need to fear that. You float in the dark water and think, where would Dave be? You've got a long history of being able to find him in nightmares, no matter if they're yours or his. He hid under your bed because he was just that afraid. So where would he feel the most afraid, the most small and alone? Ah, that one. You reach out for it mentally and start swimming towards the darker-than-dark presence you feel thrumming against your ThinkPan. Your childhoods are both massively fucked up. GHB liked to screw with how real things were for you, fucking up your pan with voodoo so you were afraid of things that weren't even real. He'd attack you when you were already scared witless of things that weren't there. It was awful. Still, you think that the doctor had the first place prize in nightmare fuel. Isolation and sensory deprivation, staring out at nothing, begging the void to come and eat her kid's mind and soul. Even when you're expecting it, though, you're still spooked when your fingers suddenly feel the tether to the pod, the one she used to reel out into space when she did this. You grab it and pull yourself down it hand over hand. You grin in the dark, salt water stinging at cracks in your lips as you imagine what it was like when she finally saw the void coming for her. Revenge is a dish best served screaming in terror, and you wish you could have seen it. Dim white lights struggle to pierce through the darkness, warning you of the pod's presence just in time to stop you running face first into it. Its rounded surface is easy enough to follow in the dark, and you slide over it until your fingers touch glass. My, what big windows you have, all the better to stare out into the darkness with. My, how broken your glass is, all the better to sneak inside with. Through? Stupid kid story, whatever. Hauling yourself through the shattered window, you abruptly go from completely surrounded by water to being in air. Or rather, you kind of come through in a sluice of seawater and then fall and land awkwardly on the floor in a mostly dry pod. There's emergency lighting on in here, and the thing that little Dave would be tied to is snapped off of the floor and missing. Probably it went out of the window, which would explain it being shattered. The dim red light of the room makes it hard to see, but your eyes start to adjust, and there! Dave's sitting on the floor with his back pressed to the wall, his knees bent in front of him with his elbows pressed to them and his hands laced behind his neck. His head is dipped forward in a classic emergency position, protecting most all of his vital parts, but still making it so he can see. And he can see. Two searchlight red eyes track you in the dark as you approach and sit down next to him with a small splash. There's a sizable pool of seawater here, but you're already drenched, so you don't care.
Very good try, but you lose at hide and seek,
you tell him. There's silence, one that's long enough that you give in to the temptation to look at him out of the corner of your eye. He's staring at you, eyes wide and fearful. He looks normal. Okay, no, he looks like half-drowned hell, but he looks like himself. You can't see his bones or anything, that's what you mean.
Are you real?
He asks finally.
Yep,
you say lightly, and you're not gonna try justifying it because you can't prove that shit. Dave chokes on a sob. I just wanted to come home. You let him have a moment. Let him brokenly repeat the same thing again in agony. It hurts you too, but you gotta sit with pain instead of running from it sometimes. Let it in. Let the hurt do its hurting.
You came home, you tell him.
I died, Dave spits out.
You still came home, you point out.
Like this? He snarls, holding his arms out furiously. His hands are shaking with fury and held open in a grip on nothing that's almost claw-like. His forearms and hands shift translucent, and his bones show through them, the white of them red in the emergency lighting of the pod, and his eyes. You shift in the shallow water and reach one hand out, wrapping it around his trembling arm. His skin doesn't feel like it did before. There's no texture of pores and mammal hair, but he's just as warm. Beneath your thumb claw, you can see the patterns of dark water inside him, muddling all the red light into shapes like the ones you see on the tiles at the bottom of the swimming pool. What's under your hand isn't skin. There's no texture, and it's not wet or dry, but there's the same resistance and firmness as skin. You look away from your hand and focus on the feeling of his arm. Warm, soft but firm underneath, one bone and another side by side. It's what you'd felt in the dark when you found his body and pulled him out, only now you can hold his arm and see the bones you could feel before.
Look at me,
Dave pleads hatefully. See? It's this. You're not friends. He doesn't want you here, doesn't like you. He hates that you're seeing this. He hates that it's here for you to see at all, especially when you witnessing it makes it more real. How dare you see this? How can you witness such unholy fears? You seeing makes it real. How could you do that? He demands that you look at him and can't stand you for it. You do look at him. He's wearing what he was wearing before, the same clothes that are on his body on your bedroom floor. You can see his tattoos glowing on his strange skin, the ink seemingly levitating over his bones. He's a patchwork of human and skeleton. His face is normal, but his throat reveals his spine. His clothes seem less real, even to the point of fading away over the parts of him that are see-through, but they're still solid where his body is normal. You lean forward to see down through his neck, glimpsing the back of his ribs from the inside, watching how they spread with each furious inhale. You look up again, and Dave's face shifts. Again, now all skeletal and shadow. Blurred halos of red glow in otherwise empty eye sockets as he stares you down furiously.
Whatever, man. This doesn't have shit to do with you making it back,
you tell him, and there's a moment of fascination as you watch him grit his teeth together and actually see all of them doing it.
What's wrong with you? I fucking died! Dave shouts.
You nod and let go of his arm to push your hand up the sleeve of his t-shirt. You're actually pretty lucky that he didn't flip out on you for that, since his mother got him fucked up about his arms again. You push his sleeve up and look at the fully revealed tattoo of Laika.
Pretty sure you did, yeah. Vriska told me some of it. I found your body, though. That's alive.
You tell him, and press and squish at the knot meat of his shoulder, watching the tattoo warp and shift like tattoos on skin do when you move them.
What do you mean?
Dave asks, and tries to wriggle out of your grip. You let him go so you can touch his face instead, catching his jaw and looking at him. You can definitely see his weird skin over his bones when it's against something else, like you can see his hair against the wall, but it's harder to pick out in this low lighting when you're looking right at him.
I mean that I pulled your body out of the darkness, and it's all alive and healthy and shit, except you aren't in it, so you died, you came back, and you're alive, but you is here.
You explain. Dave shakes off your grip by wrenching his head back and leaning further against the wall.
What? He starts. You're like water, but you've got something like skin. Do you think I could get my hand in you if I tried?
You wonder, and then smirk as you add,
Buy a drink first if you like.
Dave slaps his hands to his face and laughs. It's not a great laugh. There's the threat of tears and hysteria in it, but it is still a laugh. That's what you were going for. The whole Messiah's thing is right in a way. Fear and laughter, they're a balance.
It's supposed to be polite to ask,
you say innocently, and Dave's laugh is despairing, but it sounds more like he's despairing about you and not his situation. Chalk up another win for the clowns. As he laughs, you see his body shift, mostly back to normal. There's bits of him that you can still see through, but he looks mostly like himself. Eventually, his mirth subsides, and you sit there with him in what passes for comfortable silence in a nightmare realm. Eventually, he says,
I died. I'm dead. Nah, like I said, you did die, and then you came back to life. It's not like that's the first time you've done that.
You reason with him, but he looks at you like you're insane, so you elaborate.
You died before, on the shuttle. When you were going to Somnos and choked to death on your blood, Marcy said she got you back, which is good. Dying for good from a nosebleed would be embarrassing.
That's... CPR and whatever the fuck happened to me aren't even vaguely the same thing, he argues. You sigh and lean against the wall, your arm pressed to his. Stretching your legs out, you cross one over the other at the ankle and stare out at the dark water beyond the broken glass. It should have flooded in here, but whatever, it's not.
I know. You admit. You died.
Dave is quiet and miserable at your side. You look at him and watch his fist clench and his forearm spark a little. It's the same thing you saw before, and you know exactly what kind of thing caused that. You've seen Dave balance really hard before. A lot of people assume that what they're seeing is some kind of spooky energy trails off of him, or some tether to the ship or the people in it. They're wrong. They're echoes of electroshock wires. It happened to him again. You saw Equius have to remove them. You've seen the scars that you frantically looked for on your own arms after his nightmares. There's electricity crackling there now. It's the same echo that you get with ghosts who went through some real horror show shit before they died. Dead people walking around with echoes of injuries that killed them, or things that maimed them just before.
We got to see our ship as you ripped it apart. Just pictures in a sequence, but we saw. I knew you'd done it. I knew you had to be dead. Man, I wept with joy when I saw that shit.
You confide in him. Karkat was furious about that. Aradia was so hurt, but when you look at Dave, he gives you a small, sad smile. He gets it.
I knew what she'd be doing, what you'd be living through. I knew when I saw it that you'd got out, killed the bitch and ended it. Got out to where she couldn't hurt you ever again. I was so happy for you, and fucking proud too, because I know how terrifying she is. How hard it is to hit back that hard against them. How many times have we not been able to get rid of GHB or Bro? But you did it.
You confess in the dim emergency light. Dave understands. You don't need to tell him how you sobbed in Tav's arms in grief, too. How you didn't know how you were going to deal with never seeing him again. It was like part of you died. But that's selfish and personal. It's true, but so is the rest. He gets you. If that ship had taken you instead, then he would have felt the same as you did. You can feel it in your bones as easily as you can see Dave's right now.
I couldn't let her do this to anyone else. She was going to. They had this whole system.
Dave says, and both of you shudder at the thought.
But, you go on, you somehow made it back alive. You're alive on my bedroom floor. This is also...
You wave vaguely at his bone and water hands to get your point across.
Your bedroom?
Dave repeats slowly. Ah. It's one of those little linguistic things that happens. The how in how you choose to say something. If you were talking about where you slept with Karkat in your last hive, or where you sleep in Tav's, it'd be your respite block, or our block. Maybe you'd say my block if you were talking about where you've been sleeping in quarantine. There are literal human translations for the same thing in Alternian, and usually both words mean the same thing, but you pretty much always go for the normal Alternian word unless there's a difference. Dave was young and new at speaking Alternian, so after experiencing your nightmares of that room, the earth-flavored Alternian bedroom became the word for that place. The word tied up to that room and the nightmare past inside. You don't use the word for any other room.
You vanished. We went looking. I figured this whole thing's been a nightmare, so I pulled your body out from under my old bed. You're all alive and healthy as anything, so all I needed to do was go back under to get the rest of you, and here you are.
You say, looking directly ahead and not at him. You can feel him looking at you, and you try to project just how much you don't want him to bring up the idea of you being back under that bed again. Your hand is shaking slightly, so you clench your fist to stop it. You loathe that he knows how you feel.
The other Dave, living Dave, I guess, he's right. I am some kind of monster that came back. I'm not human.
Dave says, livid and anguished all at once, and he's shaking too.
Congratulations on your self-improvement.
You snap at him. He did get better from his tragic case of being a human. Good for him. Dave's shaking hand snaps into a fist as he yells back at you.
Fuck you! I'm a monster!
Somehow both of you are standing up all at once. Your chuckle voodoos are buzzing about rage and violence as the pair of you scream at each other. You yell at him to get over himself. He curses at you in several language. It's definitely him that throws the first punch, but it's not like you're far behind him. A lot of the time, you and Dave spar and fight for technical reasons, to train each other, burn off your energy. You're bigger and stronger, but he's faster and slippery. When it's a technical fight, it's about skill, about proving your control and showing yourselves that you're nothing like the men you came from. That's what you normally do. This is the other kind of thing. It's the kind of fight where you can't stand how much you're the same, and what you want to do is reach into him and beat to death every part of him that's you. It's not possible to kill all of the horrible weaknesses and nightmares that he's reflecting back at you, but maybe this time when you slam your knee into his ribs, you might somehow manage it. Dave wrenches your head back by the horns and screams something about how he's dead, so you shove your hand in his face and watch him bite your fingers. You get to see it through his partly see-through body, in fact. You slam him into the wall, furious that he died on you, that you had to keep living and he got to get out of it. How dare he leave you to face all this alone? He kicks you right in the grub scars and shoves away from the wall in one burst of motion. You twist and throw both of you onto the floor hard enough to knock the air out of him. How dare he die on you? You're gonna motherfucking kill him for it! Dave snarls about how he never asked for this while trying to force your face into the shallow water in the pod. He wants to drown you in 2 inches of water, but he's not strong enough to make it happen. You dig your claws into his skin and feel something run out. Who knows if it's blood or water? One of those is thicker, or so you hear. He grabs your arm and yanks it down, pulling you to him instead of trying to fight you back. Your elbow hits the ground and explodes in static pain, enough for him to slip out from under you. He shoves his forearm into your throat, and your airway narrows under the force, almost enough to choke the life out of someone. Just as you're about to grab at him, it's over. Well, it's not. He doesn't entirely stop pressing on your airway. The fight dies long before either of you does, like it does every time. The pressure on your neck fades, and his shoulders slump. His head drops forward, hits your chest, and stays there. You're not friends, obviously, but this isn't a weird pitch thing either. It'd be so much easier if you just had simple hate for him. This isn't the kind of thing where you can fuck the problem away. You don't want to claw his insides out because of something so easy as that. You want to rip all of your worst memories and your mirrored fates out of his wet human insides. You can't talk about that. You can't like him, can't hate him. You're stuck forever. At least you are now that he's back again. You can't stand him, but the idea of him being gone is awful, so of course you had to come in here to get him back. It's insane. You can't talk about it. You press your open palm to his back and feel him breathe, grateful that you don't have to talk about it, because it's the same for him. Can't, Dave breathes, small and quiet. He said that so many times in this pod that his mother put him in, a little word trying to ask for mercy that he'd never get. If you were here when his mother was... oh, then you'd really have ripped someone apart. But you weren't there. You're here, now. Don't have to. You pause and cough to clear your throat. I got your back. You move your fingers gently over his ribs, not petting him, but almost like you're shifting the pressure finger by finger to keep the memory of your hand in his mind. Silent, but reminding him that you're still really here, really real. Which one of you did that first? It might have been him, hiding in dark hallways from your dreams of your ancestor, his hand on your wrist as you both listened and waited. Still here, not alone. With a twist of your head, you look out of the shattered window at the dark water outside. He's stuck down here, all this way down. You knew he'd be here, so... what now? What did you think about when you were there? You ask him quietly, and then add, about home. When you're on planets, you think of what you want back home. Many a longing hour has been spent in the pissing rain with Jake or Dave or so many other sailors, thinking about home. Aradia would stand there with her boots covered in mud and wish for clean fluffy socks in her drawer back home. Jake would want for this malt drink that you never got the appeal of. You all wish for little things, because seeing your loved ones and getting home is too obvious. It's a given. What's really shared with each other in those little rounds of wishing for home are the small things that make life better.
The park? With Beck?
Dave says thickly.
Cheating, that's too big.
You tell him disapprovingly. That's not the way this is played, and he knows it. Your body aches, and it doesn't help that Dave's limp body is resting on a few of the places that he punched you, but it's whatever.
Grilled cheese?
He says eventually, and the imagined version alone makes you groan and want. Fuck, you need a grilled cheese.
The next episode of Taft's show, it's garbage.
You add, and watch the water outside of the shattered glass start to lighten a little.
What's it about?
He asks.
It's this... Everyone has this animal form and a normal form, and the animal one is about who you are, except for the main guy. The main guy doesn't have one for some reason, and he's the only one. But it's a detective show somehow, Sherlock kind of shit. He's looking into these unexplained animal attacks, and he's having strange dreams, or you begin to explain.
So it's him doing it? Dave guesses.
Oh, most definitely. It's so dumb. Tav loves it, but it's trash.
You groan. Dave makes a small, thoughtful sound, one that changes to a little gasp as your finger touches a nasty scratch you put into his back. You move away from it and keep looking outside.
I've got a mighty need to see the next episode,
you say. Good trash, Dave says, and a few bubbles go past the deep blue water outside.
Want a haircut?
He adds after about a minute. You twist your head a little to see his hair. It's not that long.
You shaved this once,
you say, claws dragging gently up the nape of his neck into his hair.
Might do that, or the sides, just different,
he says. It's a quiet little wish for the future, but it brightens the walls around you to a dim blue. His face is pressed fully into your chest as you touch the location of his theoretical future haircut. He can't see out there.
My place does the good shit. Some kind of goop they put on mine to make my hair nice and well-mannered.
You tell him, finding that you really want to go there when you can. The pod floats higher in the ocean, bright blue water with light just above it. Dave sighs. Yeah. Wistfulness in his voice, and with that, the top of the pod breaches the surface of the water. The water level is just above the shattered glass. Not that it's letting water in any more than it did even before. Help? Not that it's letting water in any more than it did before, even as it bobs up and down for a bit. The sudden change makes Dave bolt upright, ready to fight whatever might be there, and he's got one hand on the side of your chest, ready to push you behind him so you have cover when you get to your feet.
Nothing to be scared of,
you tell him, not moving from the floor. Dave gets to his feet and goes to the window while you stay put with your thoughts. You think that you've got a pretty good idea of what's going on here, even if it seems like Dave doesn't have so much as half a clue. He cranes his neck to try to see what's up at the surface and then the other way to check out the depths.
Is this your memory? I was at the hab on the bottom of the ocean on that one planet. Were you on the surface at one point?
Dave asks, or since he's being all sailor-like, you could say that Laika asks you.
Nope, I was sent right down to the habs on that mission, same as you.
You answer, and roll onto your feet with a lazy lack of concern, one he doesn't share, given the low, frowny look he gives you.
My great-grandpa, then? He went to islands with Solix. Is this...
Dave wonders.
Pretty sure it's not that. Are we getting out or what? I don't like it in here.
You say, and gesture to the room where Dave spent so much time being a test subject. There's signs on the walls here, but Dave couldn't read them back then, so they're all as blurry as they were when he saw them. The letters are nothing more than smears of color. His old memories are like that a lot. Dave pulls an expression of disgust as he looks around the room. Without waiting for him, you reach out through the broken glass and pull yourself outside, past the impossible barrier of nothing that's keeping the water out. With a lazy kick, you power through the warm water and haul yourself up onto the roof of the pod. With your legs dangling in the water, you sit on the edge to look out at the wide, endless ocean and up at the open blue sky. It's so bright and wide, with just a few light, fluffy clouds interrupting the color. The ocean itself is calm, but not still. Water laps against the pod, and a mild breeze gives texture to the water and picks at your wet hair and clothes. Any further attempts to try to evaluate the water are ruined, however, as Dave breaks the surface, spluttering and scrambling onto the roof of the floating pod with a lack of grace that's definitely panic from suddenly being alone in the pod again. Not that you're calling him out on it. You knew he could handle it. There are some distant islands off to your left. They're very far away, but you'd bet that if you kept looking, then you could find the island that the old Dave's dream took you to. That makes sense, though, right? Ghost Island.
You're not dreaming, unless you're unconscious, so where is this? Where are you?
Dave asks, looking around assessingly. You pull your legs out of the water and roll onto your hands and knees so you can peer over the sloped edge of the pod. You wait for a few moments so the water can calm down and stare down into it. It's deep right underneath you, but it rises up to a shallower and brighter blue as it gets to the distant islands. All the white under the water makes it look all the brighter, doesn't it? You look up at Dave thoughtfully and choose your words with care.
I don't think that where is the right word. Not the right question word. Not where, exactly.
Dave rolls his eyes at you and shakes his head, turning away to investigate where you are. He can get to it when he's ready.
You said you were in your bedroom, Dave insists, so you gotta get back.
He squints up at the sun and then holds a hand out to gauge the strength and direction of the wind.
We've got to get back. You correct him.
I'm dead, he starts up. I died out there. I'm bones and...
You died, he came back, and we can go back when you're done. We can have another break for me to kick your ass if you keep going on about being dead, if that's what you're up for.
You tell him simply. Dave glares at you furiously, but you're not scared. Actually, you're mostly just interested in the way the sun is filtering through the bits of him that have gone all bones and dark water again.
This is why I don't talk to you. Dave seethes.
This is why I don't talk to you. You parrot back mockingly, only to get drenched by him petulantly kicking water at your back. So what, though? You're already soaked. Dave goes about anxiously pacing and trying to find some way to navigate with all the nothing that you've got on the roof of the pod. You stretch out on the roof. The middle is reasonably dry, and the water is warm anyway. You're able to rest your head on your hands as you sprawl on your back, your feet and calves still in the water beyond. It's nice here. It'd be more peaceful if you didn't have Dave pointlessly muttering about the position of the sun and the possible wind speed, but whatever, right?
You could help, you know,
he snaps at you after a while. You open one eye and look up at him.
Do you even want my help? You don't seem like you're wanting the help that I've got.
You said this isn't a where thing. Is it a when thing? Did we clip that door or something? Are we back in the past? Is this Earth? He asks in a rush, making you groan in despair and shut your eyes again. Dave curses at you and paces a little more before finally caving in.
Fine, what is it? Help me here!
You're not going to do this with him pacing about, so you reach up and pull him down to sit next to you.
Right, so you died.
You begin.
Super aware of that now. We covered me dying and how dead I am,
Dave argues. You're not impressed by this at all. After an uncomfortably long and judgmental silence, you continue.
There were all those ghosts there. Sailors, but not just them. We've seen them around, but they're all clearly in harmony. They're something with something. It doesn't seem like it's everyone. Not every sailor, not every balancer, not even everyone that's on the wall in Tortuga.
It's not like we've done a census. They might just be elsewhere, Dave points out.
Could be, but nah, I'm right.
You tell him.
Alright, so we're just saying shit then? Okay,
he mutters. Your gaze drifts across the ocean, and as you track the small rise and fall of waves, it puts you in mind of slow breathing. You take in the whiteness beneath the shallower waters in the distance. You don't need to be closer to know what's there.
You died. You found them. And I had to sing for your funeral, like I agreed.
You say quietly. The memory is still really raw, but it's important to say it. Dave's "I'm sorry" is a whisper, but you hear it just fine. You sing for him again, just a little bit. I remember the fallen, do they think of me, when their bones in the ocean forever will be. As the words leave your lips, the ocean ripples around you and Dave gasps. I think of them. I think about how I'll be there one day, with people who know what it's like, and coming back with them to see it whenever someone else joins. To find promise of peace and the solace of rest. Your half-sung quote makes the water shudder again. This is the ocean. This is the ocean? Dave asks and stares at it, wide-eyed. That's more of a where question still. You died and found them, all those people who are bones now. Then somehow you're alive again. You're back, and so are all of them. Sounds great, but when have we ever got anything for free? You're not how you were when you left us, are you? You say, and catch his hand. You pull it towards you, and it changes back to bones in dark ocean water. They did... Dave can't quite get the words out. They brought you back. You're alive. You're home. You say, and press your thumb into his palm, nudging the bone that becomes his thumb and making it move under your touch. They got the sailor out of the ocean, but now there's ocean in the sailor. He's not breathing, but you figure he doesn't actually need to in here. His skin changes from his hand and up his arm, letting you see all those bones again. Who? Not where. Who? It's bones in the ocean. I'm bones in the ocean, he says tightly, almost hysterically. Don't know how or why, but I'm real sure that's what happened. You agree. Dave snatches his hand back up and springs to his feet so he can pace and gesture furiously as he shouts, I didn't want this! I didn't ask for this! Why? I thought I was finally home, but fuck me, of course! What? Why? Why didn't any of them tell you? That's what's getting to me. Vriska knew, but it's like she was told not to tell you or was too scared. She didn't say that, but... Vriska. You say thoughtfully. Dave's eye twitches in barely repressed rage. In the brighter light out here, you can see more of his features in the places where his body has gone all oceany. Like, right now, you can see the shadowy line of his angry, snarling lips over the teeth and jaws beyond. Sorry, I recognized that I said the wrong word, and then my brain crashed. Sorry. Like right now, you can see the shadowy line of his angry, snarling lips over the teeth and jaws behind. As the last of his body changes to bones and ocean, even his clothes are watery shadows now. It's interesting to see. She was talking to Matuna. I thought he was being like that with her because of what she did, but no, he's Solix's. No. Dave shakes his head and tangles his hands in his hair in frustration. Thinking about it, you tell him. He was being goddamn weird about you earlier. He even left Solix after you vanished, and he couldn't call him back. Might be onto something. Dave stands there, obviously frustrated, but thinking it through. It takes a few long seconds before he voices his idea. This place isn't real. It's like our dreams. Aradia's museum is real, but it's not like we can get directions to it, and this works the same. Unless, you say slowly, it is real, and it's in the ocean and bones in your actual physical body, and we're all atom tiny. Dave looks at you flatly and shakes his head in despair. I'm talking to myself. I get smarter answers that way. Okay, me, we're continuing this conversation without Gamzee. If I can get Bro in one of my dreams, or I could, then I can get Vriska. That's the same as everyone else bringing their ghosts. She didn't seem to know. You start, but Dave loudly goes, over your words, so he doesn't have to listen to you. Rude asshole. Maybe if I could get her, then I could get Matuna here. You said he bailed on Solix, and Solix couldn't get him, so it could work, maybe? Dave wonders and glances at you. Oh, am I involved in this now? You ask flatly. I've changed my mind. No, you're not. I'm going to try to get Matuna here, and if that doesn't work, then I'll try Vriska, he says. The two of you could also try leaving this place, but you get the impression that Dave isn't going to leave until he's good and ready. Kind of like getting a ghost to move on. Or it could be exactly like that, except Dave has a living body to return to. Well, whatever. Dave paces around, his face scrunched up as he mutters about thinking Matuna thoughts. You're all prepared for this to not work at all. It's not like any of you have ever been able to summon other ghosts, but a disturbance in the water by your feet changes your mind on that. A figure rises up through the water with flailing limbs and a lack of any kind of grace at all. Matuna breaches the surface with a gasp and then a hacking cough as he scrabbles uselessly against the side of the pod. Having a little mercy, you lean over and grab him, hauling him up onto the top with you by the back of his shirt.
Caught a tuna,
you tell Dave.
Congrats, a fisherman is you. Are you okay, Matuna? Why am I asking? You're already dead.
Dave asks. Dave says. Fuck you! Matuna snaps and then coughs some more. He pushes himself upright and shakes the water out of his hair with both hands. It's sticking together in clumps, so you can actually see more of his face than normal. Matuna looks out at the open water, then at the pod, and the two of you.
You knew about this, didn't you? You knew I died. Dave accuses him, getting right to the point.
Died? Matuna's lie trails off as Dave gestures to his visible skeleton. Kinda hard to deny that.
You knew that I died out there, right?
Dave asks again. Bits of him start to shift back to human. It's interesting to watch, if you're being honest. Hey, in my defense, I wasn't there. I don't actually know shit about that, technically. Also, you're fine. You're totally alive. Way to rub it in my face. Even if I did know, and you're better now, so... Matuna blurts out defensively and scrambles to his feet.
You knew,
Dave says, not buying into the rest of that.
Why didn't you say anything?
You ask Matuna, although you're getting a suspicion about what the answer is. Shut it, jug of shit! Did any of that whole thing back in the gym look like a good time for anyone? No! Finding that out went bad! Matuna snarls at you.
Oh, too bad! It happened! Matuna, you'd better start telling me what happened from the moment I died, and you'd better do it now. I'm sick of people controlling me!
Dave demands angrily, pointing his finger in Matuna's face. Matuna winces, and you figure that Dave's words got to him, because he does start to explain. I wasn't there. I can't tell you what had happened like I was, but I mean, I know. I didn't do any of this. I was all the way back on the Atu and feeling shitty that you were dead. Tolix was convinced he'd find you or someone would come looking, but I didn't think that at all. So it's not my fault.
So tell me what you know,
Dave says, though his voice isn't so pissed off now. You killed her, your fucking mother, and Mindfang. Stopped anyone else going in that helm or those test lab torture things. Matuna says, forcing the words out in chunks. Dave looks away from Matuna, his eyes focused on the roof of the pod that you're on now, the one that was the location of several tests over the years.
I couldn't be a lab rat anymore. I couldn't let her put anyone else in the helm or do any of this to anyone else,
Dave murmurs. Yeah, a lot of us, the ones out there, the ghosts you found. Sorry. Matuna shuts his eyes for a second and tries again. You met the ghosts out in the void. A lot of them know about you. I'm so happy she's dead I could puke. Except I can't, but whatever. None of us wanted this, and we've all been through shit and died for everyone else to be fine, and it's evil, and you...
Is this like Beck? He's full of ghosts, but if Dave is too, then how are all of you wandering around, and how's he alive? I don't think Beck was dead before.
You wonder.
I've seen his puppy pictures, so no,
Dave answers. No, it's... Matuna paces about in frustration, although with three of you up here, there's less room to do that. It's like a music thing. You understand that stuff. You all sing the same thing, but he sings it lower, and you sing it higher, and some people sing it different. I don't know much about music, actually, but shit, if you get that and you average it out, you could get the notes that's the core thing.
That'd be sheet music, Matuna. You tell him. He predictably flips you off.
That's you, he continues. You're the music, singing the song to the thing the rest of us have in common. You've got all these sailors and balancers and actually loads of helmsmen because, hey, same deal, same hat. So you show up, dying with that life and feeling and shit as your final song. Of course they came. And you wanted to come home, and fuck, we all wanted that. I wanted that. If Solix hadn't given me a jump to him when I died, then I'd have been out there too, wanting to go home and hating how it wasn't fair and why me and fuck this! Normally they couldn't do anything, right? Except hold you there with them and whatever, but Solix goes and punches a hole in reality, and they...
Mituna shudders breathlessly. He goes still and takes Dave's face in his hands.
They said your soul was singing this song so hard, and they saw a chance to get you back. They couldn't ever have that, but you could, so they did. You show up all alive and shit, and the sound of you is just like... Oh, yeah, I feel that. And you're breathing, and all these people love you. We all... It's better.
Mituna tells him, so earnest, almost hypnotized by him. Dave doesn't seem so thrilled. He pulls away from Mituna and stares at him angrily. Are you telling me that all of you are getting something from me? That you're spying on my life?
What? No!
Mituna says in a rush. Sounded like it. You point out.
No, it's... I like you. I'm happy when I see you feeling good, but I'm happy when I see Carcat happy, and he's not part of this. I don't know what you're doing. I'm not getting some contact high from you making out with Solix or whatever. Gross.
Mituna shakes his head.
But you getting to live and be home does. You're one of us, and it makes us more alive too. Other people can see me now. The other ghosts are more real too. Even the ones that don't have anything to do with this. You being near makes everything in your orbit more like... I don't know.
So, I died. I sacrificed myself to save people, like I've been doing my whole life. Dave begins.
Yes, like all of us. My life was fine until the circuits, but yeah, and you get used for people, and you don't get a choice, and then you hate it, and you die for it, and this thing that people want you for is something they'd be happy to let you die for, just so they'd be better off. Some of us destroy our own lives because of it, just to stop from being used. That's what your ancestor lady did. Bro's mom, she did that. It's the same theme song for all of us. We're all the same, you get it?
Mituna asks. Oh, Dave is calm on the surface, an expression that might seem like he's only asking questions. But you know him better, and even without your voodoos, you could tell that this is going badly. Your voodoos, as it happens, are telling you that Dave is furious right now. Sure, yeah, so I die. Finally, nothing can hurt me. Then you people find me, decide that I have what you want, and you bring me back to life again so you can use me. Like a battery, Mituna. Dave snarls that last part, and Mituna jerks back away from him.
No, I was here, it wasn't...
Mituna chokes out desperately. Oh, no? No, you didn't helm me, but you're fine with benefiting from it after? Dave says venomously. Mituna chokes and trips over barely intelligible apologies, and Dave snaps at him to just leave him alone. Mituna is so massively distressed and distraught, but your attention is on the sky above you. The sun in the sky has slid away, leaving behind a night sky filled with stars and galaxies for light. The water around the pod is choppier now, but it's nothing dangerous. Yet. You lean over to catch Mituna's wrist and pull him away from Dave. He's trying to reach out to apologize or explain, but it won't go well. Dave's not looking all that human right now, and that's probably not great. Give him a minute. I've got questions for you. You tell him. Mituna sniffs and nods, wiping tears away. You said it's like a song, like everyone else is some big group sing-along, but Dave's the real music behind it, or the most accurate to the real sheet music? Is he the one that's the most in tune, or is he the real music on the page? You ask. Mituna sniffs and shakes his head.
I think he's just the most like it. He's not God, or... I just hear it.
And when he got back, you heard it, and now you're in the ocean?
You check, and Matuna nods. Glancing over at Dave, you judge that his capacity for news that he doesn't want is 0, but you don't see it getting above that anytime soon, so you may as well tell him now.
I don't think you're the thing that Beck is. I think you're a siren.
You call out to Dave. Kamzi, I'm going to kill you! Dave hisses furiously from the other side of the pod. He won't. He's overwhelmed, is all. Wee-woo, flashing lights, what? Matuna asks in confusion.
What? Nah. It's a human mythology thing. I think maybe we had him too. Something that sings and lures things into it. Sort of vengeful sea spirit thing.
You explain. Matuna shrugs like it's not really that interesting to him. Like, what does it matter what you call this thing that Dave's become? He knows what Dave's about now, apparently.
Seems like it fits. Especially since I think you all got really vengeful lately. And I know it wasn't Dave doing it, since he didn't know what was going on, and that shit is what made his ancestor flip out and accuse him.
You say lightly, almost in a kind of happy tone, despite being pretty mad about it in reality. You watch as Matuna's eyes widen and he freezes, caught.
Yeah, good question, Gam. How about you tell me about that, Matuna?
Dave demands, eyes burning bright in his half-human and half-skull face. Matuna looks between you and Dave, but neither of you are feeling sorry enough to let Matuna get off of answering this. Not like this even has anything to do with your opinion on the captain being killed at all, but you have a lot of opinions on the consequences that landed in an unexpected Dave's lap. I didn't know he'd get like that. Meddling fuck, what sort of Scooby-Doo shit is he pulling? I'm sorry. I'm not sorry too, because I don't regret a thing about ending that bitch, but... Matuna trails off as he looks up at Dave. I didn't want you hurt. Really, I'm sorry.
Explain, Dave orders him.
Matuna looks down at the pod and starts to talk. We were there for Nep telling us. You brought a bunch of us to see. I'm like you. I'm not even pretending like I'm surprised at the ruling. We investigated ourselves and found out we did nothing wrong kind of thing. Like, just give her the lightest slap on the wrist and retire in a cushy apartment. Fuck that!
You know what's really sad? Dave asks, looking at you now. I've spent so much time with Karkat, or maybe I'm just still stupid like a little kid, but a little part of me thought that maybe they wouldn't do that. It wasn't a big part. I was about 99% sure it was going to go the way it did, but part of me still feels let down. Yeah.
You nod in total agreement. Matuna scowls at his feet as he says, That bitch threatened to kill all of your family. No, all the good parts of your family. She was happy to take victims of your mother's research without doing anything about it. She worked with your mother at some level, and you know what? Your mom knew that you were here this whole time. If she ever wanted you back, if this whole thing hadn't gone down the way it had, then she could have taken you back as easily as she took me. She got me and nearly got Solix because she wanted a battery that equals psionics power. You think the captain would have saved you if she'd asked for you back? Maybe she'd trade you for other balancers your mom made.
Wait, what?
Dave's form suddenly goes entirely human again, and he looks at Matuna with worry.
I knew about Sulam being from Mom's experiments and how the captain tried to make things better for her, or whatever she said to justify it. I knew that, but are you saying that you and Solix being troll-napped was a setup with the captain as well as the circus?
Yes, I don't know, but it never happened besides then, and she didn't look for me. I don't care that she said she did or pretended to.
Matuna snarls. Hard to prove, even if she was alive to ask. She could say that Mindfang made her and she hadn't realized or whatever.
You concede. There were so many balancers under her, all of us feeling just like you, Dave. She took your lives, both of you, stuck you like this, and you weren't even supposed to be able to talk about it. Sold you for everyone else and took from you. You're gonna tell me that you think cover-up retirement is okay? Matuna challenges both of you, looking between you over and over to see if either of you is going to argue. Dave winces and shrugs a little.
I can't really argue. I just did the whole revenge thing on my mom. Revenge is literally in the title of my motif, and I killed more people than Matuna did.
It wasn't just me doing it. I don't have that kind of power alone, but a bunch of us do,
Matuna says. Ah, that's what the song was. You used it to work together. You guess, and Matuna nods. Huh, okay, that lines up time-wise. It means that it was a very quick turnaround between the song and people on Redglare's ship finding and reporting on the captain's death. Then again, the ship isn't that far, and Redglare knows that Jade and Jake are close and deserve to know about that before word gets around. It doesn't leave much time for a lot of investigation, but you're betting that it wasn't subtle, and it's hard for death by space, but somehow inside the ship, to be put down to something mundane and criminal. Still, that song leaves you with questions. The song wasn't very revenge-like, you say.
Didn't need to be. It was Dave-like. Guy gets locked up and escapes,
Matuna answers. That's not entirely how you'd describe that song, but it's not wrong either. You sang at me like we do to the void? Dave asks incredulously.
Not my idea. Sailors and balancers, it's what they do,
Matuna says defensively. Okay, you start. So, Dave dies. He comes back as your siren. Are we really calling it that? Is that what you're gonna call me now? Dave asks, but you ignore him. He's alive, and that's all good for all of you. Like, you're literally living through him. You go on. Matuna nods enthusiastically.
Yeah, just not in a not creepy and not spying kind of way. We want him to be happy and live. We wanted to do that, so at least he should get that.
He was saying about retiring. You agree?
Yes, that's what I mean. Dave, really, we don't want you working for us. You being alive and okay is what we want. Actually, you refusing to do what anyone would tell you to do is kind of, what's the word? Cathartic. It's that. We wish we could have done that, so it feels good. I don't know if that's a siren thing or just regular-ass empathy, but still.
Matuna insists. Battery, Matuna. They made me this for them. Even if it wasn't you who did it, I'm still your power source now. One you're apparently using for murder! Dave snaps at him, and Matuna shrinks into himself a little. Yeah, if you were wanting to coast along, slurping off of Dave's life, and leave him to not knowing, then murdering the captain was a dumb idea. You point out.
I'm sorry! I didn't think it through! I'm not great at that! I guess they weren't too, but... Sorry!
Matuna wails. Dave has his head in his hands. He's muttering something in there, but you can't make it out. When he does finally pull his face out of there, he sighs in exhaustion and looks at the woeful Matuna again. It's the most contrite you've ever seen any captor be, ever. Can I get an actual answer on why no one told me about this? I'm guessing that you didn't want me finding out about what you'd done to me, or what the ghosts who were in the void with me had done, at least. Can you tell me that? Dave asks. Matuna shrugs a little, looking down at the pod miserably.
We didn't need you to do anything. You can do stuff, but you deserve to live without being told what to do or made to do things. We all want you to be happy. I wanted you to be happy, and you were getting better. I couldn't do anything about what you are now, but you could have just lived, retired. You could have just had the life you should have had, and we could be happy that someone got that at least. Your stupid ancestor had to blow it for everyone. Fuck him!
Because you murdered the captain, you point out.
Oh, fuck you! I said it was dumb! Don't you act like you think she should have lived!
Matuna argues. I didn't say that, but you all blew your own cover. You tell him, and Matuna very obviously sulks. Dave looks out over the ocean again. He's scowling at it, but you think it's a pretty cool sight. The ocean, that is, not Dave's mood. The sea is a little bit too choppy to see the details of all the stars, but it reflects the light beautifully. In fact, it reflects several moons. That pink one there must be from Alternia. That one over to the right might be Earth's moon, and there's others too, all enormous in the sky impossibly full of stars. It's like one of Tavros's cheesy computer wallpapers come to life. Is my body alive? Dave asks, looking from the ocean to Matuna. I can testify that it's all alive and good, You tell him.
Yeah, they brought you back to life. Unwound a lot of the stuff that killed you. I don't know if your hands and arms are fucked up because they're like that in your mind or because they just are. You're for real alive, though. We're not consciously keeping you like this. Again, Dave, I'm sorry.
Mituna's apology is cut off. And if I go out an airlock without a spacesuit on? Dave asks over him. Anything I need to tell Kotard about there, man? Thinking about taking a long walk out of a short airlock is all kinds of concerning. You say slowly. It's not that you don't get it, but that's... No, man. They magically brought me back to life. I want to know how that works. Especially if they need me, or whatever. I'm alive, but how alive? And how's that work? Dave clarifies for you, and you relax somewhat. He's working out the details of his situation, that's all.
That wouldn't... Mituna pauses, but then looks at him with a bit of that wonder in his eyes. You'd be fine. You'd probably look like bones, but your body would be fine. I don't know how I know. I just do.
Mituna, just go away. Get lost, man. Dave tells him, exhaustion obvious in every word.
But...
Mituna starts to protest, but Dave holds his hand out in front of him, his thumb and finger pressed together like he's going to snap any second and make Mituna leave. Mituna blurts out one more apology for the road and vanishes of his own accord, without Dave having to personally banish him at all. Who knows if he can even do that? Maybe Mituna knows, or maybe he's not taking the chance. Regardless, it's quieter without Mituna around, shocking no one. You rest your arms on your bent knees and look out at the ocean, watching the water move. The pod bobs a little as Dave sits down behind you, back to back, probably looking out the other way. It's chill, the two of you sitting silently in the dark. For all that Dave usually babbles endlessly with everybody else, he is capable of sitting quietly with you and simply being. I'm so tired, Dave says finally into the dark. Yeah, man. There's just always more things. Remember when we were worried because Aradia and Solix broke up and how that affect the balance? Well, even then, it was that it'd throw off the Somnos mission and kill all those Carapacians and Reader. That still feels like there was less going on than what we've got now. Your attempt at reminiscing back to a simpler past is somewhat screwed by how your past is a constantly burning trash fire. Yeah, like how we have ghost murders going on and I'm an immortal space ghost? Dave exclaims in a mix of disbelief and despair. Siren. You correct him. You know what? Fuck it. Sure. That might as well be a thing. I can update Solix's fantasy about me in a Playboy bunny suit to some sort of siren mermaid getup, sparkly seashells on my nips, and a mermaid tail or something. He groans. You cringe at that unwanted mental image. The less you know about the paling lives of those three, the better. You don't want to know about it, picture it, and definitely not sense it at all. The surface of the ocean seems to be calming down a little, probably for reasons that are definitely connected to Dave's feelings. You sit and watch the water go still, admiring its imperfect reflection of the stars and galaxies above it. There's always miraculous shit to see, even when you're so deep in all the ordinary, or in this case, motherfucking extraordinary shit. I'm tired, man. I really am. I keep thinking about all this, and I can't... Dave is too tired to even finish that thought. Well, if you're worried about having to tell people about you being a siren or the ghost god or whatever, you could just tell Karkat and let him make another virus again. You suggest. Pfft, ghost god. Dave's snort is quiet, but it shakes his shoulders enough for you to feel it against your back. I really don't need everyone knowing, and Nepeta will break his fingers if he codes anything again. Fair point. You concede. Dave sighs, so you go back to stargazing. Eventually, you lay back on the roof of the pod, and Dave does the same after a few minutes. The problem here is obvious to you. Dave said it himself. He's tired. You're tired too. Everything feels like it's constantly escalating when that shouldn't be possible. It's like those turning poles, the kind you see in toys or outside barber shops, with the spiral stripe that seems to infinitely rise and rise. That's how it feels. You came here to get Dave back, which he'd do for you if the situation was the other way around. He does want to go back, but he also doesn't, or he can't dredge up the motivation to actually go.
I was thinking about Sam,
you say softly, after some time. Yeah? Dave says.
I know he mentored you more than me, but I was kind of pissy when Karkat was calling him out before, when he said how the adults around us failed us, remember?
You ask him.
Right after he told everyone about us? Yeah, I remember. It's hard to think of Sam as a bad dude. He got shot protecting Matuna. He taught all of us. Sometimes I'm mad at him, and sometimes I still think of him the same way I did back then, Dave admits. Karkat went on about how he was trying to do right by us, but he still led us into this balancer thing, still fed us to it. He did it kindly, but he should have done something and didn't.
You agree.
But what could he have done? I know Karkat virused the ship, but what could Sam have done? What are you supposed to do when you're one person, the whole fleet and everyone is against you? Everyone in power was against him, and we both know how shitty the public's opinions on balancers can be. What could he do?
Dave asks helplessly.
Something.
You answer simply. You can feel Dave looking at you, but you don't look over to check.
I'm not good at knowing what to do. You need someone like Karkat for that. He's good, and he's good at deciding to do something to make things better.
It's not like you wish you were still with Karkat. You're better with Tavros, you know that. But you will love Karkat for your whole life and then after. He's great, and he was so good for you when you needed him.
He's the best.
Dave agrees in a whisper. And you know he knows how good he is.
He is. So then I was thinking about Reader, right? And how they're here and going to grow up and be a balancer with Fozzer. We'll get to see Fozzer again. But then, I don't want to be like Sam. Or, I do in the good parts, but we're neck deep in shit that he could have helped with and didn't. And I don't want to do that to Reader and Tomorrow when they're alive, you know?
You tell him.
Dave groans miserably. I can't. I'm so... Yeah, I know. Not now. Not this second. Fuck.
You interrupt him. You sit up again, and the surface of the ocean is so still that it looks like glass. You can't tell where the sky ends and the water starts. Your sigh could be the only moving air over this still water.
Oh yeah, I'll wait a week or two to heal, and then we'll just save the universe and take down every bad system everywhere forever. If we're lucky, we can keep ahead of all the new things that go wrong around here.
Dave says, loudly and insincerely as fuck.
We don't have to fix everything.
You insist.
But we've got to do something to make it better, or we're no better than the people who left us to this, and the people who put us in this situation. We've got Karkat, and you've got ghosts that'll do space murder for you. Karkat might not want them doing that, but he'll probably have better ideas than that too, so... But we can do something.
The thing is, you know that Dave knows this. You know that he thinks it. Neither of you had thought about future generations before Karkat pointed it out, but neither of you are future types. Once you'd thought about it, it was hard to agree that it was right to pass this on. Dave absolutely wants to make things better. He sacrificed his life to prevent more people from going through the pain that he did. It's just that it's exhausting. Everything is fucked up, and you can't even picture what better would look like, let alone how to get there. Even trying to do anything feels as pointless as trying to drink this ocean dry one drop at a time. The idea of looking Reader and Damara in their living faces and saying you did nothing because it was hard is awful. But also, you know, you live here right now, and you'd prefer that everything sucked less for you right now, because you deserve a better future for you in the short term of next week or something. Okay, no, you're not gonna fix everything in time for that, but you could get the better, nicer, smarter people that you know to come up with some kind of game plan. That's something. You can make something better, so if you live long enough to retire, then you can hand over a better deal to anyone following after you. At the very least, you want to be able to say that you tried. Your blood color has a dubious history. Not royalty, but the highest outside of it. Naturally stronger and bigger on average, almost all of your caste had some level of chuckle voodoos. Historically, your color represented the murderous fist that terrified and killed for the Sea Dwellers. Violence, blood, and superiority wound its way into your caste's faith in a way that poisoned it. That's not the world that you're in now. That was your ancestors' world, and you don't want it, and you don't want to be like him. You want better things for you, and better things for everyone else, too. Perhaps you are destined for violence alone, but if that's the case, then you want to point it in the right direction. Honestly, you struggle with your faith, trying to pick what you believe out from the corruption of history and fucked up culture. You don't want to reject it. That feels like giving up. One thing you did believe in was this place, the ocean where all sailors end, as the song says. The idea that when you die, you really will end up here is something of a comfort. But you'd rather live and do something to settle the unfinished business of these ghosts here, to ensure that nothing like this ever happens again, to fix things. At least you have to try. What's your high blood strength good for, if not to fight for something? You absolutely have something worth fighting against, so do something. This isn't fair, Dave mutters. Not at all, you nod. I didn't ask for this. Neither of us asked for any of this, Dave adds. Yeah, the fucked up childhood was more than enough to deal with, but there's being a balance or two, because why not? You ask. Not that there's any real answer to that one. It's not my problem, he says vehemently. Got enough of them, you say. It's too much, Dave whispers. It is. It's so much. Kotar did the jar thing for you too, same as he did with Dave. You've had a lot of big talks with him about fairness and the lack of it. It really isn't fair that you have so much to deal with. He said that it's a good thing to admit, because it stops you from feeling like you must deserve this somehow, but you've got to go somewhere from saying that it's not fair. I could tell your family, explain to them what's going on and deal with them. You offer, fully willing to deal with any of them who want to go stress Dave out about how alive or dead he is. See? That's a thing you can do. Dave looks at you, his eyes wide in surprise. I can tell the others when we get back to them, too. I'll get your ancestor to shut his noise hole and all. You add. Dave nods. It's a small nod, but you know it means that you've got him. You've won this. If my great-grandpa hadn't messed up his daughter by abandoning her for Solix's fetch quest, then she wouldn't have screwed up your kids so much. I'm not having kids, but I've gotta... Fine, I'll do something when I'm done dealing with being a siren or whatever. Dave grumbles. You said siren. It's officially the name now. You chirp meanly at him. Fuck you, Dave retorts. Nah, I'll leave that to Solix and Karkat. You shoot back. You're half expecting some kind of comeback to that, but the look on Dave's face is frozen in alarm, and after a solid 2 seconds it morphs into grief, and you have no idea what's going on. What? You ask him with concern. I'm not sure if that's going to be a thing. I died, and now look at me. Dave whispers, and his body shifts to his full, siren-y, bones-in-the-ocean form. You are alive, I checked. It's not like you're dead, so that's not it. Also, you're alive for a second time, so that's Solix's attraction sorted. As for Karkat, I mean, you've read his books, right? You ask. The romances? Yeah, I'm not sure that my lack of a Christmas tree farm is really going to be the deal breaker when he can see my skeleton. I can do it on command, but it keeps happening without me telling it to. That's pretty goddamn creepy for someone to deal with. Dave insists. You beam in delight, even more so when Dave looks really unsettled about it. Oh, you've not seen his other books, then. The ones that are way more graphic than the other kind, and they're all sorts of supernatural. You grin. A little bit of light rainbow drinker smut isn't... Dave begins. No, man. Way weirder than that. A story about someone boning something that looks like you is middle-of-the-road monster fucking. Trust me. Karkat's gonna have no problem with you at all. You chuckle, and it's made even funnier thanks to the alarmed but almost hopeful look on Dave's face. You check out his dark, watery form and consider this before saying, Do you think that if the two of you bone that he could see... Nope, I choose drowning over this. I'm going! Dave shouts and immediately throws himself off of the pod and into the ocean. He vanishes from view in a second, leaving you alone. You laugh loudly and then dive in after him. The ocean draws you deeper into it as you dive, so you relax and let it take you back. On instinct, you reach out and kick, feeling your hand seamlessly move between slicing through the water to gripping something soft, solid, and dry. Moving your hand, you feel carpet, so you know that must be your bedroom. You slip out of the water and climb back into the room on your hands and knees, trying your best not to crush Dave in the process. Looking down, you see him open his eyes, looking entirely human again. He did come back with you, just like you knew he would. You tilt your head a little as you look down at him, holding yourself up on your hands and knees over his prone body. Sorry if talking about Carquette's books got a rise out of you, you say with a grin. Oh my god! Dave yells, kicks you in the hip, and scrambles to his feet. You're not sorry. You can't help but laugh at him, even if your cheeks still feel wet. With salt water, you're sure. Much to absorb, much to take in, much to consider this chapter. Not least of which is that Gamzee just outed his ex as a monster fucker. Damn, bro! Oh, God. Anyway. If you... Where is the part? Here. When the water is so still, and with, like, the moons that were mentioned. Here, actually. Better way to do this. I drew it. Yeah, literally last night. And that's part of why I wanted to was because it was on my mind from reading for today, and part of why I wanted to do it last night was so I could show it on stream, and now here I am showing it on stream. Boy. I better hydrate up. Screaming a lot as Matuna took it out of me. I don't know if you can tell, but I am sounding rough. Between that and everyone else in the room having... basically everyone... The only... Fuck all of those sentence beginnings. Pretend they didn't happen. Mostly it was just Dave and Gamzee, and those are both a lot lower. Which can get hard to do. It can get difficult to maintain when I am also roughed up from voices like Matuna and Carcat. But I do it. These are the things we do for funny. Well, that is the chapter. And it is 6:45
apparently. Sure? Okay. So, I believe this is the part where I say, have a wonderful night. I'm gonna go ahead and get that VOD uploading. If for no other purpose than for me to to dig through it and fix it later. Some weeks from now. Take a good, have a care, and it's today's Saturday. Okay. I might come back and stream Phasma later, but I don't know. Right now, I don't even know if I want to eat, because I did eat during the break, but I should eat more, maybe? Anyway, what I should definitely do is be silent. Dave. Okay. I'll see you guys later. As a reminder, whenever the next chapter comes out, you can keep an eye on, you can see right here, ghostedglitch.tumblr.com, is where any announcements regarding, these streams goes. And I will put up 1 week in advance, 1 day in advance, and 1 hour in advance. So just keep your eye on the hashtag YWDMP stream, all one word, and that way you will know when the thing. All right. Have a good one. Bye-bye.